everybody, and welcome to day 2 of the 2024 Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers doubleheader. We're here in Hastings, Nebraska at Motorsport Park Hastings for the kickoff weekend of the 2024 BRL racing season. My name is Zach Heron. I'm alongside BRL racer and now broadcaster as well, Tony Tucker. Tony, we got a little taste of the action yesterday for day 1 of racing. What were your thoughts and what are you looking forward to here at day 2?
Well, yesterday there was a lot of surprises. Some teams did really stepped it up. There were some great battles going on track yesterday, and there was a few teams that struggled. And I'm really interested to see if they did their homework last night and if they can improve on their results.
Absolutely. Some big names stepping up to the top step of the podium. Some other big names not having the fortune they were hoping. So we'll see who's been doing their homework and who's ready to come out swinging here for day number 2. We're going to get a quick word from our sponsors, and then we'll get ready to get the green flag flying here for the second day of racing for BRL.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to day number 2 of the Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers doubleheader weekend. We're kicking off the season in opening style. I mean, this is the best way to do it. Look at the crowd that we've got on hand. Look at the amazing facility that we have on hand as well here at Motorsports Park Hastings. Zach Heron inside the Tucker Speed Studios alongside Bagger Racing League racer, multi-time podium finisher, Tony Tucker. Tony, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. You're on the mend. I know you're eager to be out there. I can see you itching to get out there, but we're glad to have you in the booth. How you doing?
Yeah, I definitely got the pre-race jitters. And, I'm excited to be up here and watch this. Yeah, I mean, the buzz and the excitement is in the pits, man. I got the pre-race jitters like I'm on the grid down there. I'm itching to get down there, but I'm excited for the racing action today.
Absolutely, and if yesterday was the preview as to the entire 2024 BRL racing season, we are in for a treat. I mean, absolute bar-banging battles. We had the metric classes. They certainly did not disappoint either, including that super street class, another new class as well in 2024. Let's take a look at the location that we're at. Obviously, you get an amazing drone shot there. We're here at Motorsports Park Hastings, and this is a quality racetrack, whether it's two wheels or four wheels.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody that I've talked to down in the pits, all of the riders have loved this facility, loved the racetrack. The asphalt is top-notch. It was repaved paved back in 2021, and amazing traction. It's super smooth out there, and everybody's in love with it.
Absolutely. Just over 2 miles. Be paying attention to turns 11 and 13. We saw a ton of action in those turns yesterday. Make or break turns is what we've been calling them. Turn 7, an off-camber turn as well. We saw some chaos there yesterday. But hey, it's one thing to look from oversight. How about an onboard look here? The Ultra Cool track preview. And Ultra Cool is exactly what this is.
Yeah, and there's nobody cooler than Tyler Elliott. He was kind enough to let us put a GoPro on his bike and do a few laps and get a bird's eye view of, in the seat of the pants eye view of the track and what it looks like out there on a BRL bike.
Absolutely, and as you can see, multiple different lines. And we talked about some of these corners being a little bit deceiving. Riders thinking they can just hug the insides, and we talked about it yesterday. Some late, deep apexes in these corners, and sometimes you got to go a little slower to go fast out here at MPH.
Yeah, patience is key out there. There's some corners that are very deceiving that you want to dive in early on, and you just got to learn to be patient, hang out there, and then dive late and get to drive through the corner.
Well, patience is a virtue for sure, and let's talk about this first class that we've got lined up. It is the Barnett Cables and Clutches Super Street class. Like we said yesterday, Tony, a brand new class to Bagger Racing League.
Yeah, this is new. They're getting ready for the green flag there. Super Street. Looks like our own Carl Schlott on the number 8, charging hard off the line. But keep an eye on that 51 Jake Masters. He's starting from the back row. He won yesterday, so he's looking to come up to the pack. Already getting really aggressive through there through turn 2.
Absolutely, very similar to what we saw yesterday. He started from the back of the pack, and by the time they got to turn 3, he had moved into the number 1 spot. And it just goes to show, Jake, while relatively new in the Bagger Racing League world, very accomplished on these motorcycles. He's a stunt rider. I was doing a little Instagram stock. He's pretty good on a dirt bike as well. And like we said, Carl Slack there, former professional motocross and supercross racer. And we'll be touching on just how many different kinds of motorcycle backgrounds all find themselves at Bagger Racing League.
Yeah, I think that's the coolest thing about BRL is you look down the rider list and you look at where these guys have come from and what they've been doing. There's such a wide variety of motorcycle racers out here. Everything from drag racing, road racing, land speed record, off-road, on-road, all of it. And they're all here, battling it out on the track here at BRL.
Absolutely. Everybody wants that number 1 position and wants that championship leading belt by the end of the weekend. Like we said, this is a double-header weekend, so both round 1 yesterday and round 2 today. And while we've got some awesome trophies, they all want to get their hands on that almost WWE-style belt that signifies you are the points leader leaving the opening round weekend.
Yeah, that's the big thing this weekend is leaving here with that belt. Ooh, looks like Carl got offline just a little bit there. A little bit of aggressive riding going on early in this race, so see if Carl can kind of settle back into the pace and catch back up and battle for 3rd place there.
Well, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, Tony. It's a 7-lap race, and you said when you got the helmet on, that goes by in the blink of an eye. And so maybe now that we've got 1 race under the books, obviously tons of time out on track. They had a great practice day on Friday. They had yesterday's racing. Curious to see whether we see some different riders come out swinging early in these races today.
Yeah, I think, Carl's a perfect example. He finished 4th. He really wants to get up on the podium. And, Carl is really looking to make some, moves. He made some adjustments to the bike overnight. I talked to him last night, and they were making a few adjustments to the suspension and trying to just get a better feel through the corners, and I know he would love nothing more to get up on the podium today.
Well, I tell you what, you want about taking notes from somebody. Jake Masters right now is looking like a seasoned vet on that number 51 machine, coming all the way from Australia. Got a little bit of a stunt riding background. Rob Bidas kind of sought him out and convinced him to come out here, and it seems like he's been having a great time and looking mighty comfortable out there as well.
Yeah, for sure. He's riding for the Suburban Motors Harley-Davidson team. That bike's sponsored by Performance Machine. So he's got some really good team or brands working with him and supporting him. And obviously, rightfully so, as he's, putting his, putting it where it counts right there on the track. He's making it happen. He's pushing out front and just making it look easy out there.
Putting those skills to use for sure. As we are watching him, believe that is turns 12 headed into 13 that he's going through. And 13 and 11, those two tricky turns. We saw Carl Schlack there just a few minutes ago, got a little bit off kilter coming into the corner, shot out wide, and when you do it right, we saw one of those textbook passes yesterday, set it up in 11, made the pass in 12, and so riders having to think a little bit further ahead out here in Bagger Racing League, maybe not quite as able to make the passes right then and there as much as having to set it up a few corners ahead.
For sure, yeah. Jake's just making it look easy. He's got out front. He's got a decent lead there. You know, further back in the pack, we got Chris Rivas running in second. We got Sean Hoffman, third place, Carl fourth, and Philip Doty riding for the Harley-Davidson of Bowling Green, rounding out the top 5. So, you know, continue to follow Jake Masters here, just clicking off laps, doing his job, hitting his braking points, and making it look easy here.
Well, and we touched on this yesterday as well, as you get a little bit better glimpses to the lead that Masters has opened up by now. This is a little monkey off the back, if you will, not quite under any immediate pressure. He's not having to really push the brakes hard coming into these corners. He's able to do exactly what he wants to do, hit those apexes, and focus on what Jake needs to do to bring it to the checkered flag.
Yeah, he can just stay focused on Jake and not have to worry about someone behind him, and if he needs to ride aggressively or, you know, try and block or ride defensively or anything, he can just focus on him and his motorcycle and hitting the lines and all the right points on the racetrack.
So watching Masters make his way towards turn number 11. And as you see, goes a little bit deeper into the corner so that he can come out on that inside, sets himself up perfectly for turn 12. And, I mean, that's textbook riding right there.
Yeah, he went through there just like you're supposed to. You know, if you get into 11 too early, it pushes you out wide on the exit, and it really puts you in the wrong spot for turn 12, and you just lose all your drive going into 13. So, I mean, if you screw up turn 11, you've really screwed up the entire run all the way back down to turn 1, because you screw up 12, it screws up 13, then you don't get to drive down the front stretch. So it really, you know, it just snowballs. It's just shows how important it is to hit those marks every time. So yeah, Jake is doing everything he's supposed to, making it look easy.
Well, and it's something that I feel like is almost universal across racing, whether it's on-road, off-road, 2 wheels, 4 wheels. It takes, you know, only a matter of seconds to lose. You know, they say it takes 4 seconds to lose 10 seconds, but it takes 15 to make it back up. And so, like you said, one small mistake can snowball, cause you to not be on point for the following corners. Next thing, it actually kind of ruins your entire lap. And talking about Jake Masters, getting used to the BRL racing scene, we were actually able to catch up with him just a little bit earlier this weekend.
All the way from Australia, Jake Masters, points leader, Super Street, brand new class. You've got the points lead. You got to feel good.
I feel really good. I'm keen to go out there, make a few changes, and then see what I can do on my next race.
Jake Masters, number 51. Keep your eye on him.
And that's a good sign right there. Like we said, Masters starting at the back of the pack yesterday, ends up on the top step of the podium, but still searching, still looking for more comfort. And we talk about the racing, the racecraft, and the ability to make passes and to ride the motorcycle, but comfort on these machines. These are not your dirt bikes or even your sport bikes. These are heavy machines that you've got to feel comfortable on, especially to be pushing to the limit like this.
Yeah, compared to, you know, a sport bike that's built for this type of discipline, these bikes are not. So there's so much room for improvement. And with this, you know, the BRL, you have to constantly be trying to improve your motorcycle. Otherwise, you're going to get passed, because all the other teams are really pushing, trying to find speed, trying to find, you know, just seconds on the racetrack. So you got to continue to evolve and push forward and get faster every time you hit the track.
Well, and something that is nice about this doubleheader weekend, he's had a lot of time on the track by now. Like we said, a full day of practice on Friday, and then you know as well as I do, practice is one thing, but until the green flag flies, you don't exactly know how things are going to react. So he had that race pace yesterday. He got to check it out. Maybe we see him just a little bit more comfortable out here today.
Yeah, he's looking really comfortable today. And obviously, like in his interview, he's having fun. He's confident. You can tell his nerves are, you know, he's in a good place in his head. And he's out there just having fun and riding relaxed. And that's a huge thing, is just staying relaxed out there. If he's riding tense or nervous, he's not going to hit those points, and he's going to be off the pace. So it looks like everything's working on point this weekend for Jake.
Absolutely. So going to give you a look down here in the Barnett Cables and Clutches Super Street class. It's Jake Masters, Chris Rivas, Sean Hoffman, Carl Schlack, and Philip Doty, your top 5 at the moment. Something worth noting, Tony, as far as the qualifying process and the gridding process goes, We did not have qualifying this morning. We were running off of the same qualifying from yesterday. As we said, we were talking off camera a little bit earlier, when he qualified, great. Hey, that's a great thing. But when you're somebody like Jake who didn't have the qualifying results that he was hoping for, clearly it's not bothering him too much, but once again, had to start from the back of the pack.
Sure, yeah, and that's, kind of the unique thing. We do one set of qualifiers on Saturday morning, and that sets the grid for both Saturday and Sunday's race. So, in Jake's case, he had a mechanical issue during qualifying and had to line up on the back row, so he made it a little harder on himself, but obviously it wasn't an issue for him as he charged to the front, in a couple of corners and has just checked out in this race. And, but yeah, if you qualified number 1, great, you got that pole position Saturday and Sunday.
Just goes to show, maybe the green flag hadn't flown yet as far as racing goes, but it was serious. And you see it in the racers' faces. You see it in the teams. They're out there taking notes. They're watching the bike. They're watching the rider because they know qualifying is extremely important, especially in some of these other classes where we saw bar-to-bar racing action. Starting position going to be absolutely crucial out here today.
It definitely is, and some of these classes, the competition is really close. So, the difference could be, are you starting front row, second row, third row? And that could be the difference maker out here today.
Absolutely. And even talking to some of our riders that were coming up in the booth and chatting it up with us, they said, even if I know I have the speed, if the rider's able to get a gap on me early in the race, it is so difficult to make up time short of somebody making a mistake. So these riders, just like you said, you might have the speed, you might have the machine, but if you're not able to be up there in the fight right from the green flag drop, you might be out of the race before you know it.
Yeah, in my experience, if I can see the guy in front of me, and I can tell if I'm picking up time on him, it's just like that little extra push to just drive into the corners a little harder, get on the gas just a little bit earlier and try and pick off, a half a second here, a second there, and just try and chip away at that lead. But if he's so far out front that you really just lose touch, it's really hard to know where you're at.
So Jake Masters checking in, taking a white flag, looking like he's running about a 1:42 lap time as he makes his way around. So a really solid pace. One of the faster qualifying times that we saw, just dropping back to our original qualifying lap times back on Saturday morning, Chris Rivas was our top qualifier, and he was running a 1:48. So these guys have continued to drop time lap after lap, session after session, and you're seeing it right now there with Jake Masters.
Yeah, and that's indicative of, it's round 1, it's a new bike this year to Jake. It's a new track, so there's a lot to learn and get used to. So every time they hit the track, they're going to be finding speed every time they're out there.
Well, and we saw it yesterday. Some guys, they hit the mark. Some guys, not so much. And you can talk about that not only as a racer, but as a mechanic. Obviously, you've got the Tucker Speed Shop there. You know just how important it is to set these things up and how frustrating it can be, not only for the riders, but for the teams as well. You guys are putting a lot of time, money, and effort into it. You come out to the races, when things don't go like you want, it can be pretty frustrating.
Yeah, you put your blood, sweat, and tears into these things, and sometimes when things just don't go as planned, and that's racing, it is frustrating. And I think as a team lead or team principal, you have to just try and keep a positive attitude out there, and try and keep everybody moving in the right direction and not let it get you down.
Taking a look now, looks like Jake Masters has checked up just a little bit. Going to let Joe Sanderson and the rest of the field go one more lap. Doesn't have any pressure behind him as he exits turn 12 into turn 13 for the last time. And it looks like Jake Masters is going to be the champ out here in the Barnett, cables and clutches Super Street class. And even going slow right there. Still hit the marks absolutely perfectly and brings down the checkered flag. So there it is. Jake Masters going to grab the win in your Barnett Cables and Clutches Super Street class both days out here at the BRL. So a great ride from Masters. We're going to wait and see who it is that comes across the stripe to round out the podium with us this weekend. Looked like we just got a shot of Sanderson there on the 101.
Yeah, Joe came out here. I talked to Joe earlier. He's on a bike with a backup motor. They didn't quite get that motor built, so they just threw one in there, and he's way down on power, but he's just out there having a good time today.
And that is a theme universally across the board. As we see a fist pump coming across the line,
looks like the 244 Chris Rivas.
Yep, and that's everybody's having a great time. We've got some awesome footage from the evening festivities coming up here in just a little bit to show you. This isn't just a race, it's an event. It's an atmosphere. It's a full-on experience, and I can't encourage everybody enough, whether you're racing, whether you want to just come see some awesome event and have a great time, find out, go to BaggerRacingLeague.com, find out where we're at closest to you, and go ahead and make plans to come out.
Yeah, for sure. And the next one's coming up quick. We're 4 weeks away from the next round in Michigan at Gingerman Raceway. And, yeah, book your tickets now.
Absolutely. Get ready for it. Now, let's take a look at how things went down. We're going to go ahead and take the race replay of this Drag Specialties Battle of the Bagger Day 2 when the green flag came down. It was Jake Masters. He's on the outside, kind of hanging back just a little bit. Carl Schlack, once again, getting a great start. I believe this is his first weekend racing with the BRL. Obviously an accomplished motocross, supercross racer, now taking it to the street.
Yeah, Carl's actually been working with the BRL, doing some social media and podcasting for them, and he decided if I'm going to be at the racetrack, I might as well go racing.
Absolutely, yeah. Be sure to check that out. I believe Throttle is the name of that show that he does on the Bagger Racing League YouTube channel. I was listening to it on the way over. It's a little insight as to the riders, exactly their personalities, their stories, where they come from, so you don't want to miss that. But one thing you don't want to miss is Jake Masters, because if you blink, he's going to go right by you. The number 51 coming all the way from Australia, and looks like it was worth the trip, as he has had a very successful weekend here in Super Street.
Well, he's definitely made a statement this weekend that he is the top dog in the Super Street class for this season, and everybody's going to be gunning for him. So they'll continue to work on that bike and keep evolving and getting faster, but everybody's going to be chasing him.
So here we go. As we see on that final lap, Masters kind of checking up just a little bit, says, hey, you know what, everybody's out here to have a good time, get in their laps. I don't have any pressure behind me, so I'm going to cruise this thing all the way into the finish, not put these riders down on laps. So
that could be a nice thing, or maybe Joe was wanting to be done. Maybe he wanted to see a checker. So
it is a little warm out here.
Yeah,
Joe might have been like, come on, dude. Yeah. But, no, without a doubt, as you see the fist pump in the air, and Jake Masters grabbing the win here in the Barnett Cables and Clutches Super Street class, waving to the fans. And that's what it's all about. It's a great time. It's a great atmosphere for everybody, racer and fans alike. As we take a look at the top 10 finish, Jake Masters going to grab the win with Chris Rivas and Sean Hoffman rounding out your podium. Carl Schlack and Philip Doty, your top 5. You can take a look at the rest of the top 10 there. Some great riders and great racing out here to kick off the second day. And just like that, boom, the Barnett Cables and Clutches Super Street class is wrapped up. There he is, holding up the number 1. And got to feel good. You see the smile on the face. Nothing quite like your hard work coming to fruition and grabbing a good win.
Yeah, you know, he's super pumped. That's a perfect weekend. That's a 1-1 and taking home 2 number 1 plates and or number 1 trophies and that gold belt. And it doesn't get any better than that for Jake Masters.
Absolutely. Didn't even have to wrestle anybody for it. And looks like we've got the Nebraska 811 lightweight superbike class coming up next, and we were able to catch up with Arch York, who I believe is with Kansas 811, and the entire 811 crew has been awesome, not only supporting that underground team racing, but supporting Bagger Racing League. Let's hear what Art had to say a little bit earlier this weekend.
Hey guys, we're here with Arch York with Kansas 811. We just caught up yesterday with Jill from Nebraska 811. We talked about it yesterday. Each and every state has their own 811 representatives. But Arch, you're not just a member of 811. You're out here racing as well. How's your weekend going so far?
Oh, it's going great. We're out here with Underground Team Racing. I'm the owner of that team. We have 5 or 6 guys racing with us today. Everybody's doing a great job, but definitely appreciate everybody coming out. We've got great support from Nebraska 811, Kansas 811, Missouri 811. All the 811s across the state support us. Have a great time. We love promoting damage prevention and safety in the field, because our thought is if you're having a safe work week, you're doing good, you get to go to the races on the weekend, so it works out great.
Absolutely. Now, for those at home that maybe don't exactly know what 811 is all about, whether you're doing a full construction site or whether you're just doing some digging around your house, you guys need to call before you dig for safety, right? Tell us a little bit more about what could go wrong and why it's so important to call before you dig.
You're exactly right. It's very, very important. Call before you dig for any type of job. If you're moving dirt, actually it's a state law in every state in the country. You have to call before you dig. There's so many things utilities underground. Obviously you have the big ones like the gas lines and electric lines. If you got into those, you could really hurt yourself, possibly even kill yourself or somebody in the community. just as important are the phone lines. There's people, heart monitors, things like that are going across those phone lines. It's important to protect all the underground utilities when you're out there working.
So there you go, guys. Art York not only protecting the people at home, but out here racing for the Bagger Racer League. And don't forget, call 811 before you dig.
Some great stuff there from Art York, and that's no joke. I don't want to get into too many details, but there's nothing worse than digging a hole for whatever reason and finding those colorful roots, as I like to call them. It's not a good thing, and like Art said, it's a state law. You need to make sure you know what's underneath you, because there's a lot of important stuff relying on power. You never know whether your neighbors, whether their life could be at stake if they lose their power. So it's no joke. Obviously, they're out here having a great time, but make sure no matter where you are across the country in the U.S., you call 811 before you dig.
Yeah, dig smart. You definitely don't want to be an inconvenience to your neighbors, or worst case, get injured. So yeah, give them a call and stay safe.
And it's simple. It's free. That's what they're here for. They're here to take care of you, make sure everything is going to plan. They're not going to go out of their way to stop you from doing your project, and whether that's you're clearing a full site for your next skyscraper that you're building, or like I said, whether you're trying to dig some posts to put up a volleyball net for your kids, it's simple, a quick call, and you know exactly what's underneath you. And we know what exactly is on the grid right now as well. We've got the Nebraska 811 Lightweight Superbike off and rolling. Let's see who is going to be leading them into turn one. We had some great racing in this class yesterday. Brett Folkert, Scott Short, Tommy Ryan, James Flume, Art York, and Chris Hasemeyer all out on track. And looks like that was the 31 of Brett Folkert's grabbing the early lead.
Yeah, Brett won the class yesterday, and he's looking to repeat here today. He's already stretching out that lead. I love this class. I love the mixed, sport bike, supermoto class. I just think it's cool seeing the different variety of motorcycles all chalking it up and rubbing elbows together. We had a great battle in yesterday's race, and hopefully we'll see some more today.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, this was one of the more exciting races that we saw yesterday, and coming from a moto background myself, it's always nice seeing the dirt bikes out there, even if they got the slicks on, and they're not just out there having a good time, they are competitive. We saw some passes being made late in the race and even getting up on that overall podium.
Yeah, I believe Arch York on the KTM Supermoto finished on the podium, third place yesterday, so they are competitive and can be very fast even against these lightweight superbikes.
And we talked about it. We've got a lot of different riding backgrounds, stunt riders, motocross, supercross racers, drag racers, but we got a lot of different bikes out here as well, and that's something that this lightweight superbike class has allowed. It's one of those metric classes new to the BRL, but it just opens up more opportunities for more people to come out and enjoy the BRL racing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the more bikes we can get on track and get out there and racing, the better. And I think the BRL, the place we're at right now in 2024, is that no matter what it is you have in your garage, we probably have a class that you can come out and compete in.
Absolutely. That's all kidding aside, BaggerRacingLeague.com. That's where you're going to get all of the class information, the class breakdown. And just like Tony said, if you got something sitting there in the garage, go look it up, because I'm telling you what, it's a great time. You're not going to regret it, and you could be looking like Brett Folkert there out front trying to grab another win.
Yeah, Brett's just making it look easy. We had a good conversation with Brett earlier today, and he was giving us a little class time on some of these super bikes, and just a really good, genuine guy, and appreciate the conversation with him and the education and helping us out in the booth here. And, man, he's just going out there making it look easy and just checking out on these guys, isn't he?
And that's a whole nother good point to bring up is, you go to certain events, the athletes are, I don't want to say they're stuck up by any means, but they're in the zone, right? They're locked in. They're not really wanting to chit-chat with everybody, maybe not able to sign all the autographs and take all the pictures you want. That's not the case at Bagger Racing League. Whether you're Ruben Zaus, whether you're Arch York, whether you're Brett Folkerts, whoever you've got, whatever class you want to watch, they're happy to say hello to you. They're hanging out all day long. They don't race and then immediately head to the hotel. They want to hang out and enjoy it, and that just is another thing that makes it worth coming out to. It's a great time. You could be sitting there chatting it up with some guy you just met. Next thing you know, he's throwing on leathers and headed out on track.
And that happens all the time here in the BRL pits. The party is in the pits. I mean, you are down there with the racers and the teams. I mean, you're listening to music, you're looking at the bike show, and the teams are over there working on bikes and getting their leathers on and getting out there on the track.
Absolutely a great time. Looking like we've got some battles shaping up here for the backside of the podium. So it's the 913 of Arch York holding down the number 2 spot right now. Tommy Ryan and James Flume look to be going at it. And it was that 611 of Tommy Ryan holding out onto the 3rd place spot, with Flume on that, I believe it's a Husqvarna just behind, and he's got company as well, looking like trying to dive to the inside as they head to turn 3.
Yeah, Scott Short sitting back there in 5th. He was actually our second-place finisher yesterday, so he's got a little bit of work to do to get back on the podium today.
And like we said, some of these riders doing their homework yesterday said, oh, we found the race pace. I found some things to adjust. Now they come out to prove something. A brand new day, a brand new round of racing out here today as Scott Short tries to run it up the inside, leave it off the brakes, and he makes the pass headed into turn 4.
That was a beautiful pass. Just late braking, just showed his confidence in the motorcycle and being able to get it stopped and make that corner still. And we'll see if Scott can continue to charge up the pack here. This is a good battle here for 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Absolutely. We just saw the riders exiting turn 7, one of those off-camber turns, kind of leaning away from the direction of the turn itself. And you'd probably be the best person to ask, how difficult is that to go through? Obviously, it kind of pulls the bike in a different direction, but is there a different way to set that up? What's the best way to try to get through a corner like that?
It's difficult. You know, what happens is you have to realize that your lean angle, even though the motorcycle's leaned what you think is, a certain degree, when you factor in that the ground is going away from you, that tipping point or that point where you lose traction comes so much earlier. So, the looks can be deceiving, and especially turn 7 where it's a corner where you don't really pick up on the off-camberness until you're in it. And you got to really be careful through there because you could end up, tucking the front wheel and going down if not careful.
Absolutely. Looking like it's a little bit of a 3-rider breakaway now. Arch York, Tommy Ryan, and Scott Short, with James Flume just on the outside looking in, kind of losing touch with that group as they head out of turn 2. This is the fastest part of the racetrack here, headed into turns 3 and 4, and you can see absolutely wide open. You can see that KTM horsepower as well.
Man, I'm super impressed with Arch today. He is really making it happen on that KTM.
And they talked about the supermoto bikes not really being able to hide behind any kind of windscreen. They don't have any protection from it. Looks like Arch, I don't know if he did some back stretches last night or what, but he's definitely leaned down and about as tucked as you can get on a bike like that.
Yeah, without that fairing and getting out of the wind and being able to get in the tuck position there, I mean, it's a tough battle out there. And Arch is making it look easy, battling it up with a couple of, Kawasaki 400s out here, and on a supermoto, that's very impressive. Arch is really looking good today.
There we see Arch getting low with it, dragging a little bit of knee as well. The supermoto scene, I'm sure a lot of us remember back in the day. Travis Pastrana, Jeremy McGrath, a lot of moto guys getting into it. It was a ton of fun to watch. Now look at this setup.
Ooh,
that's how it's done.
Textbook pass right there, setting it up early in 11 and making it happen in 12. It doesn't get any better than that.
So Scott Short not only picks his way through Tommy Ryan, now tries to officially cement himself into that second place spot, makes the pass around Arch York and finds himself in the second place spot.
Yeah, great racing action out here. Arch is coming back. He's going to go inside into turn 1.
Look at that. Arch York says, I'm not done yet.
He's not done. He wants that second place, and these guys are going to go back and forth a couple of times here.
So on the outside, headed into turn 2, has the inside coming out. They kind of funnel back in the line as they make their way down the back straightaway once again. Arch York tries to take the long way around, and for the moment has the pass back.
I'm really surprised. Arch seems to have the horsepower advantage down the straightaways over Scott's 400 there. Drag racing into turn 4. Looks like Arch is going to maintain the position there into turn 4. We'll see if Scott sets him up in 11 and 12 again.
So as they make their way through 5 and 6, this is one of those double apex corners. Let's see if Scott's got the preferred line headed into 7. Looks like he's got enough and makes that pass. So back around Arch York is Scott Short. And we'll see whether Arch has got any kind of response once again.
Great action out there today. These guys are just battling back and forth. There's nothing better when you're out there on the racetrack. I mean, don't get me wrong. It feels great to be out front like Brett. But, man, it is so much fun to just be back and forth, battling back in the pack and just battling for position. It's what we all live for.
Well, we even chatted with Brett. Don't get me wrong, doing a fantastic job out front by himself right now, leading the way. But he went back and watched the broadcast yesterday, and he said, I'm so glad you guys caught the battles going on behind me because I had no idea what was going on, and that was some great racing. So excited to see, as it looks like now the battle for 4th place is shaping up between Tommy Ryan and James Flume.
Yeah, a couple of good battles here. We'll see if Arch can get back up and battle with Scott. But, yeah, that battle for 4th is heating up, and we'll see if they pick up the pace and maybe inch their way up to Scott and Arch and make it a 4-way battle for second place.
Yeah, it kind of seems like one way or the other. When two riders get locked into a battle, sometimes they slow that pace down. They're maybe protecting the preferred lines a little bit more. Sometimes they raise the entire intensity of the both of them. They catch up to the riders in front of them.
Yeah, if the guy in the front of the battle is running a good pace, and the guy behind him is kind of trailing him and is picking up speed because he's chasing, they end up picking up a couple of seconds a lap here or there and inch their way forward. So it can work both ways.
So we see Brett Folkerts making his way through turn 7, as now Scott Short has pretty much cemented himself in that second place spot. Arch York going to need some kind of mistake. As close as those two were just a few laps ago, can't help but think one guy's really going to be able to track down another. I haven't really seen any mistakes from Arch, so I'm not sure exactly where he's losing that time, but seems like Scott's been able to put some distance between them.
Yeah, it really seemed like Scott might have just been kind of laying low and taking it easy early in the race, maybe conserving energy or tires or whatever it might be, but it looks like he was just waiting for the right time to march forward, because he's really got the pace now and just walking away from Arch, and Arch is going to have to find some time here really quick as we see the white flag flying.
So there it is, Brett Folkerts. He's got one lap to go before he tries to grab the win for the Nebraska 811 lightweight superbike class. You see him dipping into turn number 2. And glad we're getting some screen time on him, because, man, a pretty much flawless race. He gets the position. He's got pole position from qualifying. Oh, taking a little look down. Did you see that, Tony?
He's looking, I don't know if he was looking at the bike or looking behind him, but, focus forward, Brett, and get the job done here on the last lap.
Definitely don't want to have any issues on the final lap. As we take a look at the drone shot, I'm trying to see whether or not it looked like that lead had cut down at all. Still's got plenty of time, but like we've said before, a couple of seconds can disappear before you know it. I don't feel like it was that close about a lap ago or so. Man, now obviously white flag's coming out. Brett might be backing it down a little bit, but
he definitely, could have just been looking back, seeing how much breathing room he's got, and he can just kind of just put it in cruise control and roll into the checkers.
Well, and we touched on that yesterday as well. The white flag comes out. All of a sudden, cruise control is a whole lot harder to manage.
Yeah.
The heart rate gets up there. The adrenaline's at an all-time high, and it seems like that one lap lasts forever.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. So, Brett rode a perfect race. He got out to an early lead and just clicked off every lap almost perfectly. While the battles were happening behind him, he just kind of walked away from everybody. So goes into 13 for the last time, and we'll be crossing the finish line with a 1-1 on the weekend.
And there it is, getting the thumbs up from our finish line flagger. The checker flag comes down, and Brett Folkerts going to grab the win once again in the Nebraska 811 lightweight superbike class. Waves to the fans. I was over at the clubhouse that they have on site here at MPH, the great restaurant. They're serving drinks, serving food, and I believe these guys were riding some Harleys in, and they were like, man, we were at a whole restaurant in town. We had people telling us about what was going on. We said we had to come check this out, and they were just watching practice this morning, and they could not believe the speed these guys were carrying. I'm sure they're probably on the edge of their seat right now.
Well, what better place to grab a burger than on the side of the racetrack?
Ooh, can't miss it, absolutely. Let's take a look at the race replay here for the Nebraska 811 lightweight superbike class. It was Brett Folkerts doing exactly what he needed to do, executing under pressure, just like we saw yesterday, grabbing the early race lead and pretty much waving bye-bye to the rest of the field.
Yeah, he made quick work of it. Arch running in second here early in the race, trying to stretch his lead out. And there's Scott hanging out back there in fifth. I think he was playing a little bit conservative early, and it ended up playing into his hand later on in the race.
Now, while things might have been wrapped up at the front of the field relatively quietly, it was an all-out brawl between the backside of the top 5, as we see Arch York holding on to that number 2 spot for a while, battling back and forth with Tommy Ryan, and then Scott Short, like you said, might have been saving a little bit in the tank. All of a sudden, hits the nitro button, metaphorically speaking, of course,
sure,
and headed towards the front.
Yeah, great battles all race long for second, third, fourth, and fifth. You can see Arch and Tommy chalking it up right now, and Scott's just back there waiting to pounce. And you see here Scott making a move on Arch in turn 2. One of the many back and forth battles between these two all race long.
And that just goes to show whether you're running a supermoto or a sport bike, whatever you got, we've got a class for you, and you can be competitive out here. We see Arch York leaves the throttle wide open, feeling that KTM power, makes a pass back around as they exit turn 3. And like you said, that was one of many back and forths between the two of them.
Yeah, and you can see Scott is looking inside there. But ultimately, it was all Brett Folkerts. A dominating performance by him. Congratulations to Brett.
Absolutely, as we get ready to take a look at the results as they came across the line. So it was Brett Folkerts taking the win with Scott Short and Arch York rounding out your podium. James Flume and Tommy Ryan, your top 5. You can see the rest of the field there as well. And a great job from all of those riders out there. That was a fun one to watch all the way through the top 5.
I love that lightweight class. It's very competitive. Those bikes are just, they're under horsepowered if you're comparing them to some of the big bikes, some of the big 750 or 1000 cc motorcycles, but super competitive class and really fun to see.
Absolutely couldn't ask for more than that. And like we said, folks, the racing is just the tip of the iceberg out here at the BRL. There's a whole lot of great stuff going on. How about Drifter Cross? This is a brand new event going on. Sly Fox doing a great job of putting this on. This was last night after the racing had been wrapped up. A kind of a whole new world of racing. And as you can see, the fans were enjoying it. I got to go check it out myself. Tony, what were your thoughts?
I love it, and I love the Drifter Cross idea. I think Sly Fox is really on point, pushing the envelope and evolving the sport of stunt riding. I like to call it stunt riding meets barrel racing.
Absolutely, and man, was it impressive. We had the music's going on. We have 2 nights of live music. We had a bike show, tons of different classic bikes. Those were a ton of fun to watch. You talk to the owners, they'll give you a full history lesson on it. We had the food trucks pumping. I had some of the best barbecue burgers I've ever had in my life. The kids were having a great time. And then, of course, you got to get your Bagger Racing League merchandise. How's everyone at work, everyone at school going to know that you were at one of the coolest races in the country if you're not repping some BRL apparel?
And if you're not here, just jump on the baggerracingleague.com and get you some merch.
Absolutely, got plenty of it. Well, hey, we talked about the Sly Fox Drifter Cross. Let's hear from the mind behind it, Alex Fox.
When you come to a BRL event, the racing certainly is a massive part of it, but we want that fan experience. We're trying to dabble in the music industry, but one of the things that has really shook the industry is what's going on with the Sly Fox Drifter Cross. Another event here, another fence line of people experiencing what modern stunt Harley drifting is all about.
We've been with the BRL since the beginning, and we've been doing all the road racing stuff, and we thought we'd throw a cool twist at it, and we got the Drifter Cross, and it's bringing the stunt community to a race-oriented platform. So it's really cool to watch. I recommend checking it out. It's different than anything else out there, and they're going to be at all the BRLs.
Not a judged event. They have scoring and timing transponders. This is computer and technology saying who the best of the best is.
So we're a legit racing platform. It's not competition-based, and we're sanctioned by the AMA.
Folks, if you want to see what the BRL has for entertainment, come on out to an event. We're going to Gingerman next.
And just like Rob Bida said, you can see Drifter Cross at each and every one of the BRL stops. Well, we're going to get a quick word from our sponsors, and we'll be back for the next race. You guys don't go anywhere, and don't forget, this is the Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers.
Performance is a leader in high-performance aftermarket parts for Harley-Davidson motorcycles. World-renowned for industry-first bolt-on turbo systems and cutting-edge motorcycle components, all made right here in the USA. Assault the street and the track with confidence. Performance-minded, performance-driven. Trask.
That's my neighbor, Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hey, John.
Joe's about to make a very big mistake. Hey, Joe, I think it might be a good idea to call 811 to have your underground utilities parked before you start digging?
John, that's just for big projects.
Actually, it's for any digging project. Okay. Congratulations, Joe. You found your electric line. Remember, safe digging always begins with a free call to 811. You want to borrow my phone, buddy?
Brought to you by Nebraska 811.
Bridgestone's reintroducing their Supermoto tires here in the United States and Canada. BM01 front and the R02 rear. It's available in a 16.5 inch as well as a 17-inch configuration. The Racing Battle Axe is a non-DOT tire, and we definitely recommend tire warmer. Time's the only thing in life that money can't buy, but you can buy Bridgestones.
It took my family years to build this dream. I know my land better than anyone else. I don't take chances. I'd hate to imagine how easily it could all be lost. So I call 811 before I dig.
It's a public service available to all Nebraskans. It's the law, and it's a safe thing to do. When planning to set fence posts, cut terraces, install drain tile on my property, I call 811 first.
I have the peace of mind that I'm protecting my land, my family, and my community.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers. A happy Memorial Day weekend to you. We're excited to be kicking off the 2024 season, and man, do we have a great group of racing coming up next. We've got our air-cooled twins, the American Twins Unlimited, the Liquid Twins, and the Next Gen Superbike all getting ready to take the track. But let's talk about, obviously, a lot of horsepower involved, a lot of how fast can you go. But, Tony, you know as well as I do, you got to be able to stop too. DP Brakes, the proud sponsor of the Liquid Twins class. Larry Mills in the house with us this weekend. I believe it's actually his anniversary, and he's still hanging out with us here this weekend. So a huge shout-out to Larry Mills. And we were able to catch up with the DP Brakes man himself earlier this weekend.
So many times it gets mentioned, how fast is my bike? How hard can I come into the corners? Most important thing, Larry, is how fast you can slow down, and DP Brakes knows how to do that.
We've had some great materials over the past few years, but, this is a test to our, our product. I mean, these guys are heavy. The bikes are heavy. They're fast. But, if you can slow these babies down, you're doing a pretty good job.
If you're one of those companies out there that's looking to get involved with something based solely on the R&D even, how do you go wrong with trying to slow down a bagger?
Well, no, that's the thing. I mean, we do a lot of testing with these guys all year round, and, they really give us some awesome feedback. We're able to go back to the factory, tell them what's up, and they make improvements or, make additions to what we have already. But, this is a great test to the product, really, it is.
Larry Mills with DP Brakes knows how to make sure that the products you consumers are buying, tested right out here on the racetrack.
Great stuff there from Rob and Larry. Larry, a great guy. I get to work with him over on the GNCC circuit as well. So whether it's on-road or off-road, he's focused on making sure you guys stay safe and you're able to get stopped exactly when you need to. And Tony, that's kind of one of the underrated things that we don't talk about enough out here at BRL. You got to be able to stop.
Brakes are huge. I mean, there's so much time to be had in the braking department. If you're slowing down so early in these straightaways, you're losing time. So DP Brakes, stepping it up, R&Ding out here on the racetrack.
Doing a great job for sure. And we saw it in some of those highlights a little bit earlier. We've got the Bagger Racing League apparel on site here in person. Then, of course, you can go to baggerracingleague.com. We were able to catch up with one of our apparel personnel, making sure not only you look good, but you feel good as well.
One of the things we worry about here at the BRL, fashion, the fit check that's going on here with the merch. We got SJ. She's going to give you an update.
So here at BRL, we have a few merchandise. If you guys want to come pick up, we're actually right out in front. Otherwise, you guys are more than welcome to order some from me.
If you guys are interested in making sure you pick up all that BRL merchandise, go to baggerracingleague.com. Get the link, buy it, head to toe to fit check. Go to school looking cool.
Go to school looking cool. I'm going to have to save that one in the back pocket and use that. Rob Bidas making sure
Rob.
everybody looking good and feeling good. And you saw rocking one of those BRL hats as well. Tony, we're both decked out in BRL apparel, and it's just part of kind of the event vibe, right? You go to casual Fridays at work, you're sending the kids to school. How else is everybody going to know that you're spending your weekend at one of these unique and awesome events if you're not rocking some BRL apparel?
Yeah, you got to go repping it. And what cooler way to do it in BRL gear?
Absolutely. And then you saw there on the bottom of your screen, baggerracingleague.com is where you can find all of the apparel needs, all the class information as well. And don't forget to follow us on social media as well, guys, at Bagger Racer League, or Bagger Racing League, on both Facebook and Instagram. Give us a like, give us a follow. And then, of course, if you guys are watching live on YouTube, which I hope you are, that's what we're here talking to, you guys, it's really simple, all right? I'm not trying to sound like Mr. Beast out there, but click that subscribe button. It helps us. It helps the sponsors know how much you guys are enjoying us covering the race in action right here live, traveling across the country to show you the best bagger racing in the country.
Yeah, and our next class up is a mixed class. We got a lot going on track coming up. I believe they're out on their warm-up lap. We're just waiting for them to come around and find their grid positions here. But this is a full class with 4 different classes on track at the same time, so it's going to be exciting.
Now, Tony, let me ask you, like I said, I come from the dirt bike, the off-road kind of world, and a lot of those pros, they get a sight lap, right? Now, the track continuously changing off-road. You've got ruts, you got bumps that are developing throughout the day. Are these riders, are they solely just trying to warm the machines up, warm the tires up, or are they looking at things to try to see whether there's any kind of changes or any things they need to adjust headed into this race?
Yeah, unlike off-road where the track is changing lap over lap, the track here pretty much is the same all weekend, right? So what these guys are doing, they're just taking that opportunity to try and get a little bit of heat in the tires because, they're coming off tire warmers. They might have rolled up and been held at the gate for a couple of minutes, so they're putting some heat in the tires. They're trying to just get loose, kind of get in the flow and kind of start to feel one with the motorcycle, if you will, and just get ready to drop the throttle at the drop of the green flag.
So the nerves probably at an all-time high. You hit 13 on that warm-up lap and things get real. Look at that.
Oh,
Look,
little style
maybe
here,
not
rolling into
no
the grid.
nerves there. Yeah, I'm not sure. I believe that was the 811 of Andrew Berkeley feeling feisty.
Andrew won the class yesterday, the DP Brakes Liquid Twins class yesterday on that KTM Duke, and looking very at ease and comfortable out there today, looking to repeat his performance from yesterday.
Now, as far as sitting on the grid, obviously these guys look pretty calm, cool, and collected. Do you have any pre-race rituals? Is it breathing technique? You see some guys trying to get themselves hyped up. What was your go-to before the green flag dropped?
Mine was always to try and focus on breathing because I always had a bad habit of I feel like the green flag dropped and I held my breath the whole race, so it was like focusing on breathing and just staying relaxed. So these guys are looking for green flag. Here we go.
There it is.
Carl riding the wheelie all the way down the front stretch.
Man, look at that, putting the power to the ground. And it looks like he had to check up a little bit on that one.
A little bit. It looks cool, but it's not the fastest way to turn one.
I can get out of hand in a hurry, too, as we see the 811 of Berkeley funneling into that number 1 spot and taking over the lead as they exit turn 2.
Yeah, so it looks like the pack's already starting to get a little bit spread out. The 811 of Berkeley, that bike's a very capable motorcycle, and looking to take advantage of it and just check out here on the field.
They're in that DP Brakes Liquid Twins class now. It looks like the 61 James Milroy Jr. out of the Next Gen Superbike class brought to you by Nebraska 811 is in the second place spot physically on track. And we'll try to make sure you guys know exactly who you're seeing battling on course and then exactly what class they're in as well. But we said this yesterday, Tony, a racer's mentality. If you're in front of me, I want you behind me.
Yeah, I don't care what you're riding. I want to pass you no matter what it is. So these guys are just battling it up. There's, races within the race happening right now. But whoever's in front of you, whether they're in your class or not, you want to pass them.
Absolutely, and this guy got nobody in front of him to worry about passing. The 811 machine. Andrew Berkeley looking great right now. And qualifying fastest out of that Liquid Twins class with a 135.8 early yesterday. So we'll wait for him to come across the line and try to see what those lap times are looking like here in race pace, as it looks like things are tightening up for the lead in that Next Gen Superbike class. Jamie Hansen and James Milroy went to battle yesterday. Looks like we're going to do it again here today.
Yeah, those guys were battling all day yesterday, and looks like ran a little wide there and gave it up.
Yeah, it was Jamie Hansen actually had the pass made as they came into turn 13, but like we said, Tony, that's one of those make or breaks. He came deep up the inside. The 61 said, whoop, I'm going to slide up underneath you, regain that second place spot.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to take it back, though. He doesn't want to give up that second place position there.
And always cool to see the camaraderie and sportsmanship between these riders as well, up on the podiums, laughing and shaking hands. They're going over the race with one another. So cool to see not only how much fun the fans and everybody's having out here, but the racers as well. They're having a great time just battling with one another.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these guys, your enemies on the track and best friends off the track. And it's one of the great things about the BRL is you walk around the pits, you know, if one team's having an issue, need a part or need a tool or whatever it might be, the other teams are always willing to lend a helping hand because, you know, they want to get out there and compete and, you know, have some good battles out there. So that's a really unique thing about the BRL.
Yeah, it's the spirit of competition.
Sure.
Nobody wants to see anybody not make the grid, and so we've seen mechanics, riders all jumping over, even riders helping other riders say, oh, this sounds like this, or maybe you should try that. And so just a really cool thing to see as still Milroy and Hansen going at it for second and third on track and for the lead in that next-gen Superbike class.
Yeah, so this is a battle for second in the race and first in their class. Milroy still trying to just stay attached to the backside of Hansen there.
And I tell you what, Milroy probably wants to try to grab that number one spot here today because as far as the overall coming out of the weekend, we talked about that big points leading belt as far as who's the points leader at the end of the day. Well, guess what? If it's a 2-1 versus a 1-2, Sunday today is the tiebreaker. So right now, if the 61 can hang on, he'd be holding that belt up at the end of the day.
Yeah, Hansen looking to go outside. Just a little bit too long a route out there as they drive down into turn 3 here. It's a very high-speed area of the track here going into turn 3.
Looked like Hansen was trying to run up the inside but had to check up just a little bit in that kink and lean a little bit harder, loses some momentum, and Milroy able to hang on for now. Doing a little bit of a yo-yo effect, right? He catches up and then falls back, and we saw a lot of that yesterday as well. Riders that maybe had the speed, but it's a whole different ball game trying to make up enough room to be able to actually get around them.
Yeah, you know, catching a guy and passing a guy is two different things. As you look, you know, Hansen, it looks like he's going inside, outside, outside, inside, just looking for somewhere to pass. You know, he's trying to get creative with his lines, and, you know, you keep searching, you're going to find it eventually and be able to make that pass.
Well, this guy, he can go pretty much anywhere he wants. Berkeley out front right now, opening the gap up, continuing, and there is the battle on hand. Once again, looking towards the inside there in turn 11. Was actually able to hold that still pretty tight, didn't get him too off, headed into turn 12. Let's see if he tries to make the pass once again.
You can see the different lines going into 13 there. Oh, Hansen went outside and made the pass. See if he can make it stick. He does.
And just like that, Jamie Hansen going to make the pass around James Milroy, but he's got something to say about it.
Maybe not so quick, yeah.
He said, hang on, boys, don't announce it quite yet.
Milroy, he's got that, you know, on that 93 Kawasaki ZX7. He's got that thing still running very well. That had some horsepower going down the front stretch.
Absolutely, so was able to respond almost immediately. And Tony, it seems like across the board, if somebody passes, you can almost immediately pass them back. It kind of almost demoralizes the competition a little bit. It makes them have to take a beat and be like, all right, hang on a second. As you can see, Milroy was able to put a couple bike lanes between him and Hansen.
Yeah, that's the beauty of racing, right? I mean, that's what we all do it for. You know, you get out there, you make that pass, you know, if you can get right back around him and make a statement and just deflate the guy's confidence, that's half the battle out there.
Absolutely, and he's doing a great job of it right now as the fight rages on. They come out of 5 and 6, that double apex, headed into this off-camera turn here at 7. Camera doesn't quite do it justice, but both of them do a great job of making their way around it. And for the moment, Milroy's got a little bit of breathing room, a couple of bike lanes at that, can't afford any kind of mistake. But let's see, Hansen really seems to like 11, 12, and 13 to try to make a move, especially in that final corner.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, your strengths are in this more technical side of the track, and you might have more horsepower going down the front stretch. Looks like Hansen made the pass again in 11, and we'll see if Milroy can get it back again going down the front stretch.
So an impressive pass there from Hansen. Slid up the inside as they made their way through 11. Looks like Milroy was able to go a little deeper into the corner.
Ooh,
and
he's got him.
Passes him right back. Great racing.
Great battle here.
So the next-gen Superbike class brought to you by Nebraska 811. The battle is on at the front of the field between James Milroy and Jamie Hansen, with Milroy having the number 1 spot right now, number 2 physically on track.
So yeah, this battle, you know, this is a great battle back and forth between Milroy and Hansen. Fourth place, Catherine Pikowski. She finished 3rd in that next-gen class yesterday, looking to repeat that 3rd place podium finish. And she said yesterday on the podium it's a new bike to her, and And, you know, you can definitely be proud of the results there.
Absolutely. Not only a new bike, but still relatively new to racing in
Yeah.
general. And so she was pretty stoked to be up there and chatting it up with us on the podium. And that's the other thing is we have a lot of experienced riders in various disciplines, but we also have a lot of riders that they did their riding school on Friday. They did a mock race Friday night, obviously making sure everybody was safe and capable of being safe out on the racetrack. But then they line up on Saturday for round one, and it's full-on BRL racing.
For sure, and that's the beauty in this, you know. And there's no better way to learn than just get out there and just do it. Take the riding school, go racing, put in the laps, and have some fun.
Let's see what happens here. Hansen had made the pass right here a lap ago. Going to try to slice underneath them. Oh, Milroy does a good job of blocking that inside. They exit turn 12. And
Milroy is playing a little bit of defensiveness here, you know, taking the inside lines and making it hard for Jamie Hansen. He's going to have to go outside and take the long route around. And it's really hard to pass on the outsides.
It's a drag race headed into turn one. Milroy's still got the spot right now. Oh, looked like maybe a small mistake there for the 61. And that's going to allow Jamie Hansen to go around the outside of him. Let's see if there's any response from Milroy.
The 61's got the horsepower. He's going to try and pull up side of him into turn three, but just doesn't quite have it there. Hansen seems to be able to drive into the corners a little deeper and get on the brakes a little bit later. And looks like Milroy has to allow that bike to kind of just roll through the corners a little bit more. And that's, you know, why you see Jamie Hansen, you know, really fast through the technical parts of this track.
Absolutely. Got to give Josh Thompson a shout out there, too. Back end of our top five and in that next gen Superbike class, as well as Catherine Bukowski. So that is 1, 2, 3, and 4, running 2, 3, 4, and 5 physically on track, with Berkeley still leading the way out of that Liquid Twins class.
Yeah, you got to hand it to Andrew. We haven't seen him much on screen, but man, he has just done his job today. Got out front, checked out, and rode a perfect race here. But this battle looks like Hansen is starting to stretch out a little bit of lead over Milroy now, and we'll see if James can pick up the pace and maybe make a last lap pass here.
Yeah, it could be close, and we have seen a lot of those passes made in 13, but this is probably the most distance that we've seen between the two riders as the white flag comes out. So 1 lap left to go here for the DP Brakes Liquid Twins class, as well as that Nebraska 811 Next Gen Superbike class. Let's see who it's going to be. We're taking a look at your leader right now, Andrew Berkeley. He's physically out front and leading the way in the DP Brakes Liquid Twins class. Taking a little look over the shoulder. Seems like all of these guys on the final lap, they want to know exactly how much they need to put out there on track. Can I just bring this thing home?
Yeah, you know, it could be fitness. It could be, you know, maybe he's out of, you know, just a little bit of arm pump. He's, you know, out of breath or whatever. And how much room do I got to just kind of ease in through this last lap?
Well, can't help think that might be playing a role in this Milroy-Hansen battle as well. Those guys have been back and forth, swipping and swapping, and when you get into the heat of battle like that, it's easy for the arms to lock up. Like you said, holding your breath and you don't even realize it. Then all of a sudden, it kind of hits you all at once, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can keep going. So hopefully both of them can hang on to it, as they are a little more spread out now here on this final lap.
Yeah, it looks like Andrew Berkeley's got it on lock here. He just needs to be smart, bring it home, and finish with a 1-1 on the weekend, and also take home one of those belts.
Absolutely. He heads into turn 11 for the final time. Textbook as he exits into 12. And Andrew Berkeley trying to bring it home here for the DP Brakes Liquid Twins class. Doing a great job. Like we said, a 1-1 on the weekend. Not only looking at that big number 1 trophy, but that championship belt as well. And there it is. The checker flag comes down, and it will be Andrew Berkeley grabbing the win. And got to notice that Jamie Hansen wasn't too far behind. I know Berkeley wasn't pushing the pace, but
yeah, it's tough to say how much was that just Berkeley just kind of easing up off the throttle a little bit, and how much was Hansen really on the gas there right to the end.
Like we said, I don't care what class you're in. I want to try to put you behind me. Great ride for Jamie Hansen, grabbing the win out of the Next Gen Superbike, brought to you by Nebraska 811. It was a hard-fought battle between himself and James Milroy, and he comes out on top. Let's take a look at how everything went down, give you a little race replay, and look at this wheelie from our man Carl Schlack there, doing a great job. I know that's not how those are supposed to happen, but man, it looked cool.
It looks cool on camera, but it's the slow way to turn 1 for sure.
And that allowed for Berkeley to grab that early race lead, and that was exactly what he wanted. Give this guy some clean air, and he will run away with it out front, out of that Liquid Twins class. But the battle was on in that next-gen Superbike. James Milroy and Jamie Hansen, they had a little bit of battles yesterday, but nowhere near as many back-and-forth passes as we saw here today.
Yeah, they went back and forth multiple times, you know, in different corners. It seemed like, you know, 11, 12, 13, turn 2, turn 3. It didn't matter. There was passes happening all around the track all day.
And that's got to show not only are they comfortable as far as fitness and speed, but feeling very comfortable on the bike as well, as they were able to push the pace all through the race.
But it was all Andrew Berkeley this round, and he checked out, set sail, and left the battles behind him.
Berkeley said, I'll let everybody else fight over the rest of the podium. As we saw the 61 and the 911 going back and forth, it looked like Milroy was going to try to give him a fight, wanted to get that tiebreaker and hold the championship belt up by the end of the weekend. But sure enough, the 911 of Jamie Hansen bided his time, said, all right, I'm going to let you keep putting up a fight, but I'm going to have to make it stick at some point. And he was able to do just that, took the long way around, and almost immediately put a couple of bike lengths between them and was able to manage from there.
Yeah, but great racing action all day. I love to see the battles back and forth. There's nothing more exciting than, you know, inside-outside passes. Really exciting stuff. There's Berkeley last lap, looking back, knowing that he's got it in the bag, put it in cruise control and take it home.
Absolutely, and was able to do just that. Almost made kind of a final sighting lap there, just taking a peek around, still on the gas, but certainly not pushing the pace like we saw earlier. There you see Hansen twisting and twisting, says, hang on, I want to try to get in the fight, but just a little too late as the checker flag came down, and Andrew Berkeley going to grab the win out of the DP Brakes Liquid Twins class, with Jamie Hansen grabbing the win out of the Nebraska 811 Next Gen Superbike class. And again, giving each other a huge props there, congratulating one another. That's what it's all about. As we take a look for our overall finishes, it was Berkeley first across the line with Jamie Hansen and James Milroy second and third. Catherine Bukowski going to round out the podium out of that next-gen Superbike class. Josh Thompson, Chris Rivas, and the rest of the entire top 10 there doing a great job out here today. And Tony, man, is there anything jump out at you about that race? I mean, any battles in particular, any standout riders?
I think, you know, obviously Andrew Berkeley was on point. You know, that bike is a very capable motorcycle, and he did his job. He did exactly what he wanted to do. He executed his plan, and everything worked out. But that battle for second and third, that's top-notch stuff.
Hey, you can't beat it. We talk about having so many international and national level sponsors. Let's talk about the local sponsors and the local support as well. We were able to catch up with Frontier Harley, one of the local dealerships that are out here supporting the Bagger Racing League.
It started with Newcastle Harley Davidson. We always like partnering up with a local Harley dealer, and Frontier Harley Davidson not only kind enough was to support us through sponsorship, they sent this great display out here.
Of course, yeah. We're glad to be here. This is awesome to have something like this local. Don't get a lot of stuff like this in Nebraska, so first time. We hope you come back next year. It's awesome.
Well, if we do come back, are the fan bases, is it something worth coming out to?
Absolutely. This is, you don't see something like this. You know, it's a great track, great setup, all the cool racers here from across the world. It's a good time.
Tell you what, if you're a dealer and we're coming into your neck of the woods, get a hold of us. Indy and Harley Davidson, everybody's welcome.
So great stuff there from Rob and Frontier Harley Davidson. We're excited and happy to have them out here with us at MPH. We're going to grab a quick word from our sponsors before we get ready for the Nebraska 811 Middleweight Superbike coming up next. Don't forget, this is the Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers. The Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers Bagger Racing League is brought to you by Andrews Performance, Alpine Stars, and Memphis Shades. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We're here in the Tucker Speed Studio. Zach Heron alongside Tony Tucker. And, man, Tony, I'm still at a high off of that last race. A great job from our entire podium finishers there, and only expecting more action out of this Nebraska 811 Middleweight Superbike coming up next.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to beat the action we just watched in that lightweight or the next-gen class and DP Brakes Liquid Twins, but I bet you this middleweight class is going to have some great battles going on.
Absolutely, as the riders are getting locked up on grid. We'll see how things are going to shake out. We had some great racing action yesterday. Can't help but expect more of the same today. As you can see, the stands are packed and the green flag is down. See that Texas cross back there, picking the front tire up. It looks like that is going to be the number 80 of Chris Hasemeyer trying to grab the early race lead.
Yeah, Chris was our race winner yesterday. Oh, 205 got stood up there in turn one. That was a little scary. But, yeah, like I was saying, Hayes, as they call him down in the pits, won yesterday, and he's looking to repeat today.
Absolutely. Hayes trying to make quick work of it. He's got Jamie Hansen and Kira Neville behind him. And like you said, I believe that was a 205 of Neville getting stood up in turn one. Maybe explain to the fans exactly kind of what that's like. Obviously a little different with the baggers, but all of a sudden you're not leaning, you're not turning.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't quite see what happened there, but yeah, that bike stood up for whatever reason. I don't know if the back tire might have skipped out a little bit or, whatever happened there, But yeah, it's an unnerving feeling, and Kira's just going to have to just put it behind her and just focus forward, forget about all that, and just focus on the job ahead of her.
And that's such a good point to bring up, the mental side of things as well. We've talked about it's hot, it's physically demanding, but the mental side of things, when you're pushing over 100 miles an hour headed in some of these corners, and all of a sudden you start sliding the front end, the back end kicks out from under you, it can be very difficult to just immediately throw that in the rear view and focus on what's in front of you.
Yeah, and it's really easily said and very hard to do when you're out there and, the adrenaline is running and, something like that can really just get your heart rate spiked. You just got to have to, think inside your helmet, breathe, settle down, relax, don't get tense and just focus forward and get back to work.
Well, Kira seems to be doing a great job as she is still out there on course, hanging tough in that third place spot. Hayes comes across the line, leading the way right now with Jamie Hansen on that 911 machine. Now, something worth noting, Hansen fresh off the track.
Yeah, Hansen is doing a double duty here, back-to-back races, running a next-gen bike and also a middleweight bike here. So, I mean, obviously he must be in really great shape to be able to be out there and battling back-to-back races. And we'll see if he can get up here and, try and mix it up with Hayes as he is kind of stretching out that lead a little bit.
Yeah, Hayes right now really seems to be firing on all cylinders. As you can see, has opened that gap up and was probably sitting there taking notes on everybody in the next gen class. Says, okay, all right, it's still looking good. They're pushing tough into this. As you get the on-track middleweight superbike class rundown, it is Hayes leading the way. Chris Hasemeyer, everybody in the pits calls him Hayes. Jamie Hansen in second with Kira Neville rounding out the podium as of now. And Kira not out of this yet. She's starting to creep back into the picture. She might have taken Tony's advice and said, you know what, I'm putting that in the rear view. I want to get into this battle for second.
Yeah, just settle down and march forward. That's all you can do. And, just the race isn't over until it's over. You never know what's going to happen. One of these guys could have a mix-up, a bad line or a mechanical. You never know what's going to happen. So just stay in the race until the checkered flag flies.
It's such a good point. It's such a cool aspect of racing, right? Whether it's two wheels, four wheels, no matter what discipline, anything can happen. And it seems like it always, right when you think you know what's going to happen, you catch a surprise, right? And like we said, somebody like Hayes, even he could run into some kind of issue. Obviously, we're not hoping for that. We want everybody to be running at full potential, but it's racing. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen, and that's why we could sit down here and say who's going to win on paper, but you just got to go out there and race because you never know what's going to happen. This bike might have more horsepower, so we could say he's the winner, but you got to get all the way around the track. You got to do 7 laps and hit all your lines and do them perfectly. And that's the beauty of racing.
Well, and that goes back to the mental side of things as well. We talk about here on Sunday, we're running off of the same qualifying that we had on Saturday. If you do have a bad qualifying session, guess what? They ain't giving the trophies and the belts out for qualifying last time I checked. You got to shake it off and say, hey, okay, I'm on the grid. This is where I'm at. But I got to be able to run a solid pace all 7 laps.
For sure, and there's nothing to say that you might not have a bad qualifying day, you might not run good on Saturday, but you could still come out here and win on Sunday.
Absolutely, and I believe we said this yesterday as well. If I was going to have a bad day, I'd rather it be during my qualifying session because
Sure.
you know what? It still gives me a chance to fight for the results, put the points on the board as well in this entire Bagger Racing League Championship, and right now we're looking at a solid performance from the number 80 of Hayes.
Yeah, Hayes, I believe, is running around here on Aprilia 660. I think he said this is a new bike to him, but obviously it doesn't look like it. He's making it look easy out there. A very talented rider, and probably could hop on any bike and go fast.
Yeah, absolutely. A true specimen of the sport and a great one at that. When taking a look at his qualifying lap time, it was a 135.828 that got him on the top of the board on Saturday morning. Last time he came around, he was running a 134. He just matched it with a 135. So right around the same time, maybe even dropping about a second or so. So seems like these riders are continuing to get more and more comfortable out on course.
Yeah, looking at the lap times, it looks like Chris has kind of got it, running 134s as his best lap. Jamie and Kira are running 138, so they're very close in times, and which is going to be tough for Kira. If the guy in front of you is running the same lap times, it's really hard to chip away at that lead and get up there and battle with him. But looks like Chris has got the lap times. He's just got to make them all happen. He's got to do it 7 times in a row, hit his marks, and make it happen.
Well, and Hasemeyer, another rider doing double duty. Well, I'm sure we'll see him later in the program as well. And so because of that, he's got the lead opened up. Maybe not giving, obviously he's giving 100%, but not pushing the envelope, right? He's like, hey, I've done the work. I've opened the gap up. Now let's just focus on being safe and bringing this thing to the checkered flag.
Yeah, and if you've got the capacity to think through that in your head while you're out there on the racetrack is, man, I got to leave a little in the tank because I got to race again later this afternoon. And, if you can do that, great. Not everybody can do that. Some guys are out there and they can focus on their lines and their braking points and all of that, and that's it. And they have really no more room in the head to think about what's going on later this afternoon. But if Chris has that, kudos to him, and that just shows, that he's a true racer.
Well, and that was me. I put the helmet on, pretty much all the thoughts turned off. I tried as much as I could to think ahead, but it's one of those things where the adrenaline got up and I was caught up in the moment for sure. I don't know about yourself, but for somebody like Hayes, he's in a great spot right now, and whether he's fully focused on the task at hand or whether he is thinking about a little later today, it's working for him.
Yeah, and what I'm seeing in Chris's riding right now, it just looks as though he's not pushing the envelope right now. He's riding very relaxed. He's not in in the attack position. He's just kind of clicking off those laps. He knows he's got, the speed to stay out front, and there's no reason, if they don't give you another trophy if you beat them by 30 seconds or 3 seconds. So just get across the finish line and get that number 1, that podium position, and move on to the next race and try and do it again later this afternoon.
Well, we talked about Kieran Neville getting stood up there in turn 2, or I believe it was actually turn 1 earlier in the race, but she has put it behind her, and now she's trying to make her way around Jamie Hansen for the second place spot. The battle is on for the silver medal position.
Yeah, this is getting good. Kira's done a great job of just putting that little incident behind her and just focusing forward and just clicking off laps, and she has creeped up to the back tire of Jamie Hansen.
Now, like we said, Hansen was in that last race, might be feeling the little fatigue after 7 laps already in the book. Kira Neville, relatively fresh, obviously wasn't out there already. She's out, she's swinging, and she's trying to make a pass right now for second.
Kira's looking very aggressive right now. She's looking inside, outside. I think she's looking for the right place to make a pass right here. This is going to be a great battle right here.
Let's see what happens. We've seen 11 kind of make or break. You set it up right, it can set the pass up in 12. Wasn't quite close enough on that lap. 13, another corner where we've seen several passes made. And Hansen and Milroy, the one thing about Hansen in that last race, he was in the midst of battle. And so maybe got a little experience as far as, hey, this is where they're going to try to make the pass, because if you remember, he was the guy trying to make his way around James Milroy.
Yeah, and the rules are reversed here, and, Hansen is playing the defensive position and trying to, ride a wide bike and, take up as much real estate on the racetrack as possible and not give up anything to Kira. But Kira is, she's just inching closer and closer, trying to look for that perfect opportunity to dive underneath or make the outside pass.
Well, and you just said it, riding a wide bike and almost riding behind you, right? Trying to predict where the rider behind you is going to go. That's a hard thing to do, as if you're not already focusing on what you're doing, going 100 miles an hour.
yeah, some racers are good at it, and some they just, they can only focus forward. But, some of the best in the game know who's behind them, and they know how to ride defensively and take the preferred lines and ride a wide bike, as we call it, and not let anybody around. And that's part of the game out here. It's not just who you pass, but it's also who you don't let pass you.
Kira Nebel feeling great right now, and she is able to see exactly what lines Hanson's taking, decides whether she wants to try to set up for the inside, maybe take the long way around on the outside. But she has held consistently within a couple of bike lanes for over a lap now. But just like you said earlier, Tony, catching up is one thing, getting around is a whole different story.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. And, Kira's going to have to get creative. Looks like she might have made a little mistake there and ran wide. We're nearing the end here. We got the white flag, so she's got one lap to make it happen. Let's see if she can inch up on Jamie Hansen and make a pass.
Well, and that's what we talked about as far as the patience, the going slow to go fast. Certain corners, especially 11 and 13, you've got to make sure to hit your marks because, like you said, they're pushing the envelope. They're trying as hard as they can to make time up to find a way around, but a simple mistake like going wide, you can see what happens. She's opened it up by about 5 to 6 bike lengths on the final lap. It's going to be hard. She's going to need a miracle to catch up to Hansen.
Yeah, she's going to have to ride a heck of a lap to catch Jamie this time around. But we'll see if she can have it. Looks like Chris Hayes is just out there in cruise control, man. He's in the upright position, just enjoying life right now. Saving a little bit of energy for the race coming up later on that he'll be on. And, he went out and did his job, hit the marks, executed, and bringing it home.
Well, and it just goes to show, get the damage done early, get up front, get the gap, and you can manage it from there. Hayes doing just that as he makes his way through the final couple of corners and tries to grab the win here for the Nebraska 811 Middleweight Superbike class. And he's not just looking at another trophy, he's looking at one of those championship belts.
That's a great feeling to take home the gold belt from the weekend. That means you got the points lead going into next round.
Well, wait a second now.
Kira has come back.
She said, hang on, boys, it's not over yet.
Yeah.
They get ready to make their way. I believe that was headed into 11. We're going to try to watch Hayes come across the line, and then I'd love to see your leaders. You see him on the back of the screen. It looked like Hansen had stretched it out just a little bit.
Hats off to Kira, really trying to charge hard that last lap, never giving up, just staying in the race and just charging all the way to the finish line. But there it is, finishes Jamie Hansen with the second place and Kira coming out in third.
Wow, a great race there from both of them, and especially after that scare early in the race, Kira Neville able to shake it off and put the charge on. And man, both of them got to be happy with that because that was a fun race.
Yeah, I think hats off to Kira there. I mean, it's really hard to have a little bobble like that and just put it behind you, and she did just that. She executed it perfectly, put it behind her, marched forward, and got back in the fight. And that's something, something to be proud of.
Absolutely. It looks like they're going to try to ride up next to one another, give thumbs up, and congratulate each other on a great race. As we get ready for our race replay, show you exactly how things went down as this guy right here, Hayes, gets the job done. As you can see, getting a little wild, picking that front end up, trying to keep the power on the ground. Hayes, one of the smaller riders in stature, so trying to handle all of that power. Let's see what happens to Kira.
Man, it looks like she might have maybe just lost traction on the front end maybe a little bit, just maybe started to skip out, and she kind of had to stand the bike up and save it. I mean, great riding to stay on two wheels. I mean, I'll give her that.
Yeah, you got to be heads up and that rider feel. Nobody can tell you what's going on with the bike better than the rider in the saddle. And whatever it was, she said it seemed like she felt like she needed to stand it up. And like you said, better to stand it up and lose the position than lay it down and ruin the whole race.
For sure. I mean, you can't win it in the first turn, but you can lose it.
Absolutely.
And, she did the right thing. Her instincts kicked in. She kept it on two wheels, forgot about it, drove forward.
Absolutely. Hayes out front, styling and profiling as he wasn't under any immediate pressure and was pretty much able to just go out on a cruise, make sure he was hitting his marks and getting ready for one of those races later that he will be out on course in. We thought that might have been it. Thought Kira was maybe going to settle for third place. We were wrong as she set the charge on and tried to find a way around Jamie Hansen, and she was putting it up close, almost making it past a couple of times throughout the race.
Yeah, about 3/4 of the way through the race there, she really came on the attack mode and was looking inside, outside on Hansen, looking to make the pass. And I think there was a corner where she just kind of ran wide, lost a few bike lengths, and just never really could recover. She did make a late charge on the last lap to try and get herself back in contention, but just not quite enough, and finished out our podium in 3rd spot.
Absolutely. Even after that mistake, she was able to fight hard. And we'll show you as they came across the line. It was Chris Hayes, as they call him, grabbing the win. Jamie Hansen and Kira Neville, your podium. A great job from our entire top 3, putting on a solid performance all the way to the checker flag as well. So great to see the riders that really don't get down on themselves and give up after a mistake, right? Just even you and I were like, oh, there was 5 or 6 bike links. That might be all she wrote. Nope, it wasn't. She was charging hard. And a great job from our top 3. Hey, we talk about the amazing sponsors and teams that we have. One of the names that you'll hear tossed around a ton is Alloy Art. We were able to catch up with Robbie Lane from Alloy Art and see what he's got going on here this year.
Round number 2 of the BRL, we had an opportunity to catch up with the always on-the-go Alloy Art president and founder, Robbie Lane. Robbie, beginning of Bagger Racing, you were there literally minute 1.
Yeah, Laguna Seca 2020. With you, because of you, and yeah, we've been full in the whole time.
You show up today, Hastings, Nebraska. Oleg comes out. You guys do R&D literally every single day of the week. You did some R&D today. You get the bike sorted out. The bike makes it fired up. You get here. Today's the first day on the track. You got to be pretty excited to see what all this hard work is all about.
Yeah, we're always pushing the envelope. We try really hard. My whole thing in it is the challenge of the engineering and the parts and all that stuff, and how we can get that to translate back to the public market and improve the products. Sometimes that is works in detriment to the actual team as far as the race bike's performance. But if you don't try, you don't know. And we got the brand new motor in it from Josh at RPM. We got a bunch of our new little gimmicks on it, and we're looking forward to watching what Ola can do.
Tell you what, Robbie Lane down here pit side. I know you guys back up in the booth. They got some action ahead of them.
Some action ahead indeed. Rob Bidas there getting the word with Robbie Lane and Alloy Art. Some great stuff there. And we are getting ready for the Nebraska 811 Unlimited Superbike class, one of the big boy classes for sure. But we got to get a word from our sponsors first, guys, so we'll be back after that. Don't forget, this is round 2 of the Drag Specialties Bagger Racing League Battle of the Baggers. 2024 Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers is brought to you by DP Brakes, Zippers Performance Products, and Pirelli Tires. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Motorsports Park Hastings here in beautiful Hastings, Nebraska. As you can see, a beautiful day on hand here for the second day of racing. We're here in the Tucker Speed Studio. Zach Heron alongside Tony Tucker. And Tony, I'm telling you what, we've got the Nebraska 811 Unlimited Superbike coming up here in just a second. This one's going to be a fun one to watch.
This one will be exciting. This is the Unlimited class. Really fast motorcycles out there. And looks like they're already waiting for the green flag.
And just like that, the green flag is flying, and we are racing. I believe that was Brian Haig on the 74 trying to grab the early race lead.
Haig with a monster horsepower out there with that CX-10R and putting it to good use off the line there and getting the whole shot and number one into turn one.
Absolutely. It looks like he's got Brett Folkerts behind him in the second place spot, trying to get a number on that third place rider, but man, they're going so fast and they're so close, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, this Unlimited class, big horsepower bikes, 1,000cc motorcycles of all different, types, a wide range of brands and motorcycles out here. And it looks like Haig still holding down that number one position on that Kawasaki CX-10.
Yeah, the battle is on at the front of the field. Haig and Folkerts getting ready to go at it. Looks like Folkerts trying to sneak up the inside. Wow. Forcing the issue there.
Yeah, getting really aggressive. Brett Folkerts, also raced earlier today, so he's looking at using that experience from earlier today to capitalize, and he's charging forward.
And you can tell whether it's bagger, whether it's the metric classes, no matter what, to make a move like that, you got to be feeling pretty confident.
You got to be really confident, really sure of your motorcycle. It looks like Haig had a little slip in that corner there, which is only going to help Brett Folkerts, kind of check out even further.
And if I'm Haig, I can't help but think maybe not the most appreciative of a pass like that. I mean, nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing worse than getting a little aggressive pass made on you.
Yeah, we see Brett Folkerts out there coming across the line in first. He's actually riding a really cool motorcycle. It's a Kramer 890. It's a KTM motor and a custom built, for this type of racing frame. And, he's putting it to good use out there in the top spot.
So some great stuff. We'll give you a rundown as they come across the line. Looks like it's Brett Folkerts leading the way with Brian Haig in second. I believe that is Haysmeyer in the third place spot. Rob Oliva in there as well. And relatively close here inside your top four. Folkerts trying to get away, but the rest of the top four have something to say about it.
Yeah, this pack, just behind Folkerts is not done. They're just kind of settling into race pace here and looking for the right opportunities to make the passes. Haysmeyer just came off the track in the middleweight class, and, he's still in the groove. He's still got that feel, and looks like he's trying to make a move on Haig here.
Well, and you saw Haig really protecting that inside line in turn 7 where the pass was made a lap ago. So maybe taking a lesson from Brett Folkerts there, says, all right, maybe I had the door a little too open. You clearly were able to squeeze through. I'm not letting anybody else get by me there.
Yeah, Haig's riding a Triumph 765, battling with Haig on that ZX-10. So I think Haig's got a big horsepower advantage, but Haig looks to have a little bit more feel, and he can move that bike around a little bit better. And that's going to be a disadvantage to Haig going down the front stretch here. Haig, kick that front end up in the air. He's getting a power to the ground this morning.
Yeah, I thought he might have been a little concerned about it. I talked to him on the podium yesterday. He said, man, the thing's always picking the front end up. That's just part of it. And if you look at it, Haig's bringing Rob Oliva along with him to make it a 3-rider battle.
Yeah, Rob running out there on a 2015 Ducati Panigale, a really cool motorcycle. And, he's looking to mix it up here with Haig and Haig.
And that's another point worth noting out here is you don't have to have a 2024 motorcycle to be competitive. Like you said, Rob, out there on the 2015 machine, a lot of these riders on older generation models, but still extremely competitive and able to get up in battle.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the beauty of this class is that, there's some very powerful motorcycles out there, but horsepower isn't always the key thing. You look at Haig's ZX-10, that thing's making 200 horsepower, but unless that bike can stop and turn, he might not be the fastest on track. So, Haysmeyer's looking to, get inside there. He's still looking for the right opportunity. He's looking inside, outside, and just has not been able to get around Haig yet.
Yeah, it seems like I can't help but think maybe it's actually 5 and 6 where Haig is losing some time, because it almost seems like every time they get to turn 7, he's got somebody on his rear wheel. 5 and 6, one of those double apex corners. And what's the secret to a corner like that? What do you do to have to handle, as we see? Hang on a second. Ooh, thought we were going to have a pass made. But those double apexes, what's the secret to getting through those?
Well, it's difficult. I mean, those corners like 5 and 6 and 9 and 10, those double apex corners, you really have to have confidence in your tires and your suspension, to really be able to stay on the throttle through both corners and almost turn 9 and 10 into one corner. And that's just all suspension and all traction and making sure you're sticking to the road surface.
So as we see your leader on screen, Brett Folkerts, doing a great job. Can't help but notice the last time they came across the line, Rob Oliva running a 132.2 as compared to Chris Hasemeyer's 132.5. So be on the lookout. Rob Oliva, he's not only just hanging out, he's trying to get up in the mix.
Yeah, running some really good lap times here in the middle of the race here. So he is looking to get up here and get in the mix. He just missed out on the podium yesterday, and I think he would love to stand on the box at the end of the day.
Can't remember who it was. A racer I know says the last place you want to be is 4th place.
I hate 4th place, man. I'd rather 2nd than 4th. 4th is just off the box, and I go home with nothing.
Absolutely. Well, Rob Oliva's trying to do just that, but I know Chris Hasemeyer doesn't want to be in 4th place, especially after such a solid performance. Hang on a second. They're side by side once again. Haig doing a great job of riding defensively. We saw this yesterday as well.
Wow, Hayes. Looks like he had maybe a little tire slip there, but he stayed in it and stayed committed and made the pass happen around Haig. We got Rob Oliva still charging hard behind Haig now, and we'll see if that battle heats up here.
Yeah, I believe it was Hasemeyer and Haig that were wheel-to-wheel yesterday in the class, and it seemed like Haig, he might have had a little bit of horsepower, but he was riding such a wide bike and doing such a great job of being defensive. Maybe Hasemeyer a little more willing to force the issue here today.
Yeah, riding a little more aggressive today. Maybe you learned a few things from yesterday and, put that to good use today. Got the pass done early and didn't wait till the last lap to try and make something happen. And looks like he's got that 2nd place on lock and is starting to stretch out a little bit of a lead here.
Looks like Haig, he said, hang on, that's not just Hasemeyer. He's bringing Oliva along with him, and he's trying to remount a charge and go after Chris in that 2nd place spot. They still have Folkerts up ahead, so Folkerts still in their sights. But right now, the battle for 2nd place is on between Chris Hasemeyer and Brian Haig, with Rob Oliva just on the outside looking in.
Yeah, Brett Folkerts is not getting much TV time today because he is just getting out front and checking out now all the classes he's racing. Hats off to him for, beautiful riding, but TV time is always on the battles here. This 2nd, 3rd, 4th place battles, where all the action is at.
Yeah, absolutely. When you've got racing as close as this, it's hard to get the camera off of it, but we definitely want to give him a shout out for doing such a great job and for making that pass. Like we said, that was one of the more aggressive passes that I've seen. We saw some close, maybe even a little bit of contact yesterday headed into turn 13. I'm not sure if they made any contact there, but he definitely was slicing and threading the needle to get around.
A little too close for comfort, but he made it happen and then just checked out, set sail on the pack.
So looking now, Hasemeyer rather comfortable in the 2nd place spot. The battle is on for the final podium spot. There you see Haig picking that front end up like he likes, and Rob Oliva hanging tough just behind him on the 145 machine.
Yeah, Rob, I think, is charging. I think he's watching him. It looks like he's really in the attack mode. He wants to get up there on the back tire of Haig and try and battle for that last position on the podium.
So we'll see, especially with Oliva just missing out yesterday. Can't help but think he's got a little extra motivation as they're just past the halfway point here in this Nebraska 811 Unlimited Superbike class here for round 2 of the 2024 Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers. This is what the metric classes are all about. This is why Rob Midas said, we got to get these guys out here.
Yeah, there's some really great racing out here and great opportunities for a lot of people to get out here and race, see different types of motorcycles on the track, not just baggers and Softails and Sportsters, but we're getting to see a wide range of other motorcycles, Triumphs, Ducatis, Hondas, and everything in between.
Well, we talk about having a race event where pretty much anybody, if you've got a vehicle or got a bike in your garage, can come out. We've opened the doors even further for the metric classes, and it has certainly not disappointed so far. It looked like Oliva was falling off the pace just a little bit, but man, look at how much gap he's able to make up in turn 11.
Yeah, he is right there on the back tire of Haig. he is looking to make something happen here. He's running out of time, so he's going to have to get aggressive here, I think.
Well, like you said earlier, could be setting up, taking a little breather and getting ready to make a last lap charge, because there it is. The white flag is waving. 1 lap to go. Brett Folkerts leads the way. Hayes sitting in the second place spot, but the battle is on between Brian Haig and Rob Oliva.
Yeah, and that ZX10 just walks away from everybody in the straightaways. That's where the horsepower is key. And Rob can really pick up a few seconds here or there. Once we get into the second half of the track, in that tight section starting in turn 4, 5 and 6, off camber and 7. And let's see if Rob can make anything happen. He's going to have to put in a heck of a lap here. You see Haig looking back, seeing how much room he's got.
And as a rider, I can't help but think that's got to motivate Oliva there. He sees him looking back. He knows he's got the chance, and he knows that second half of the racetrack, that's his strong suit.
For sure, and there's nothing worse than knowing that guy is right there, and hopefully Haig doesn't lose his concentration, make a mistake, get offline, and, give up that third spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to try to focus ahead, but at the same time, like we said, wants to make sure he's not going to have any surprises from Oliva in those final couple of corners. We wait to see his, I believe that's Folkerts we're watching on screen, making his way through the final couple of corners here for the Nebraska 811 Unlimited Superbike win. He heads into turn 13 for the final time, and he's going to see the checkered flag waving, and it will be Brett Folkerts grabbing the win out here for the Nebraska 811 Unlimited Superbike here in Hastings, Nebraska. Giving a big thumbs up. We'll try to see whether or not we'll catch that battle coming across the line, find out whether or not Oliva was able to put in a last lap charge. And it did look like Haig was able to hang on for it. Oliva just coming up short of the podium. And, man, can't help but think he's going to be coming out with a ton of motivation out in Michigan in just a few weeks, just missing out on that podium 2 times.
For sure, but just want to congratulate Brett Folkerts on an amazing ride there, on that Kramer. He came out, executed a perfect race, made an aggressive pass early, and then just set sail and made it happen. So big congratulations to Brett.
Well, let's see how he got it done. It was almost instantaneous from the green flag. Haig says, hang on for a second, I'm putting the paddle to the ground. And he was able to grab the early race lead. But Folkerts, he said, all right, I got something to say about it. I'm going to hang tough for just a second. And, man, talk about threading the needle. I'm sure we're going to see that pass for the lead here in just a second. They headed down into turn 3. He found himself in the right position, tucks in behind Haig and says, I'm going to wait for the right moment to strike. And he was able to do just that as we see the rest of the field. And here it comes, headed into turn 7.
Looks like I think he had already made the pass at this time. Yep. But, yeah, it was an aggressive pass, beautiful pass. I don't think it was dirty, but he got the job done.
Hey, absolutely. Sometimes you got to be aggressive. You want to make the point and get around. He was able to do just that. And smooth sailing after that for the lead as the battle was on for the final couple of podium spots. Chris Hasemeyer, Brian Haig, and Rob Oliva going at it. As you can see, Haig had the position early. He fell back to the second place spot. And then Hayes just started slowly but surely picking his way through and found himself around Haig for the second place spot.
Yeah, and good thing Hayes, put it in cruise control in that class earlier because he needed all of it to get that second position today. He finished 3rd yesterday, so improved today to second position. So hats off to Chris.
And hats off to Brett Folkerts there, grabbing the win and taking the checkered flag here for the Nebraska 811 Unlimited Superbike class. Going to give you a rundown as they came across the line. So there it is, Brett Folkerts, Chris Hasemeyer, and Brian Haig are top 3, with Rob Oliva and Tommy Ryan rounding out the top 5. You see the rest of the field out there as well. And a great race. Like we said, that won a ton of excitement yesterday, and I think we had even more out here today.
For sure. The action has been just great today. Great battles in every class. We're just enjoying the race. You can see the pits down here. You see the fans lined up, having a great time. It's a party down in the pits. We got the merch booth. We got food trucks. We got bands. We got it all happening down there. It's a great time. We love coming out to Nebraska. The Motorsports Park Hastings has been a great facility, a great host. They've taken care of us. They've invited us in and shared their home with us, and they've been awesome.
Absolutely. You think MPH stands for Motorsports Park Hastings? You're wrong, my friend. It stands for making people happy, and they have done that all weekend long. A huge shout out to the entire crew here. Guys, we've got the Andrew Performance Products Bagger GP class coming up next, and we were able to catch up with one of our very own Oleg Payanik earlier this weekend.
The Bagger Racing League is very international. Australia, Canadian, and Russian. Oleg Pionik has been with us since the very start of the BRL. He showed up and he was battling on many, many different bikes. Now you find yourself on top of the number 99, the mullet from Alloy Art.
Yeah, happy to be here. I believe it's the third year with the series, and been with a number of different teams, but really happy to be on the Alloy Art bike. It's a great bike, and I think we have a lot of potential. We just haven't had the best of luck this weekend, but hopefully the rest of the season works out for us.
Tell you what, we know luck plays a big role in it. We wish you some of it here. Best of luck this afternoon. Oleg Pionik, he comes from Russia. We want to wish him best of luck. Now, we'll see how he does here in Nebraska.
So great to catch a word there with Oleg, one of our international riders, and another of our international riders coming all the way up from Canada. We're going to see what's going on with Samuel Guerin.
Rob Vitus with the BRL. We're always looking to the future. And coming up in the future, Sam Guerin. Now, this young man here has been with us for the last few years, but we are coming to Canada.
Yes, sir. It's going to be awesome. The Canadian Tire Motorsport Park track is it's a fast track. It's flowy. It's going to be ideal for the baggers. It's going to be a nice show.
The BRL Can-Am Championship. We're coming up there. We're going to make sure the national anthem gets played for one of our countries, and it's really going to be the first time baggers truly go international.
Yeah, people are excited to see the baggers. Everyone's talking about that. When I see them, they're like, "Oh, and what's going on with the bagger? Like, you're coming to Canada?" Yeah, we'll be in Motorsport on August, so be sure to tune in or to be there. It's going to be awesome.
All you folks, make sure you join us up there. Keep your eye on our social media and on the broadcast for more updates.
Yeah, you can see the excitement there for Sam Guerin getting ready to go back up to the home country, and that's going to be a really interesting event, Tony. It's an invitational event, so riders having to be selected to go up there. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a really cool opportunity. I got the invite, but I don't know if I'll be there racing. I think hopefully maybe I'll be in the booth, but it's such a cool thing, taking Bagger Racing League around the world, across international lines, and it's just something that's never been done, and the BRL is doing it first.
Absolutely, and another rider who is extremely interested in bringing Bagger Racing League worldwide. He was yesterday's winner out of the Andrew Performance Products Bagger GP class. A guy by the name of Ruben Zaus, probably have heard of him. We were able to catch up with him earlier today.
Day one points leader and race winner, Ruben Zaus. The winner's circle had to feel good yesterday.
Yeah, more than the win itself is how we feel on the bike. Remember that we struggled a bit on the previous events this year so far. And I built up a bike in Europe to be able to test in the tracks that I know and find the limit of the behavior of those bikes. And it seems that we are getting there. I mean, all the boys are working very much, and we've got information on the data, we've got information on the dashboard. I can play with the shifter, clutch is working, bike is becoming better and better. So I think we're getting more comfortable. Even you can see when I'm riding out there that the bike feels more me on it. And nothing, trying to keep that pace for today or for the second race and for the championship going.
Championship points leader, keep your eye on the 111. He's looking to drop the two outside ones and just pick up that one at the end of the BRL season.
Ruben, one of those racers with a lot of excitement around his name. Obviously, he's got a worldly fan base in various different forms of racing, as we see our riders getting ready to take off for the warm-up lap, as we get ready for our Andrew Performance Products Bagger GP class, as well as the Pirelli Pro Stock Bagger. And, I mean, there's a lot of names worth mentioning. Obviously, we just heard from Ruben Zaus, Sam Guerin, and Oleg Pionik there as well. Hoping to see Jesse Janix out there as well. And then we take a look at that Pirelli Pro Stock Bagger class. Cody Gilmore, a name I'm familiar with from the motocross, supercross world, really has come out and set the world on fire out of this Pro Stock class. Really has seemed to take to Bagger Racing.
Yeah, Cody's been racing with the BRL for a couple of years now in the Suburban Motors team, but he was racing on a lightweight twin last year, and this is his first season on a bagger, and he has come out swinging here in round one, and we'll see where we're at in round two. But Cody Gilmore looking very impressive this weekend.
Well, you can't help but think that the 69 of Arnie Wells or maybe even the 951 of Tony Salima are going to try to have something to say about it. Both of them out there yesterday had some solid performances, but also said they had some stuff to work on as well. So like we said, it's 2 different rounds, but we're at the same track, and you just got a full day of racing under your belt. So we saw yesterday, once the final checker flag came down, those teams immediately went to work and tried to get everything in tip-top shape, ready to come out and perform here for round 2.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the beauty in having 2 rounds back-to-back, Saturday, Sunday, is you can learn from Saturday and get better on Sunday. Whether you're struggling Saturday or if you're on the top of the box like Cody Gilmore, you can still go faster on Sunday.
Absolutely. So like we said, that is the Andrew Performance Products Bagger GP class and the Pirelli Pro Stock Bagger. And we talked about Pirelli tires hanging out with us this weekend. Tires, they're a big deal out here. Obviously, it's a little different than the world that I come from of off-road, but especially out here, as fast as you guys are going, I've heard you say it multiple times, trust in your tires. Exactly what does that mean? And as a rider, what are you looking for with the feel and the having trust in your tires?
I mean, obviously, it's, do those tires stick to the track, and no matter what it is you're doing to them, whether you're hard on the front brakes going into a corner, you're on the gas coming out of the corner, you're really leaned over all the way, dragging the saddlebags and really trusting. And that comes down to, rubber compounds and tire pressures and then suspension as well. So tires are huge. Look, we see the number 9, Jesse Janis out there, maybe having a few issues. They struggled with that bike all weekend, but that team has really put in the work to try and get that bike on track.
So hoping Jesse going to be able to get out there and battle it up. Another rider that we saw with some issues yesterday, Sam Guerin, he was able to get out there when the green flag dropped, but it almost seemed like identical moments right out of exiting turn 2, headed into turn 3. He had some kind of mechanical issue. They're hoping that they've got that figured out here for round 2 today.
Yeah, and we'll see if Sam has anything for Ruben today. They ran pretty close in lap times on practice on Friday, and if they've got that sorted out, it should be a good race. It looks like they're going to have to push that bike off the grid and out of the way.
Tough luck there for the 9 of Jesse Janis. We were hoping to get ready to see him battle it out, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to, as they're set, and the green flag is waving. We are off and rolling, and whoa, some drama at the back of the pack there.
It looks like somebody had a bad start and almost got rear-ended there. Looks like that might have been Tony Salima, but it looks like Ruben Zaus making short work at turn 1 there.
Now, we saw this yesterday. Guerin was close coming out of turn 2. Let's see if they've got things figured out. It'd be great to see him get up in the mix and try to do some battle with the Spaniard of Zaus.
Yeah, it looks like, at this point, so far, so good for the Canadian team and Sam Guerin on that OG Moto Fremont Harley-Davidson Road Glide. Cody Gilmore in tow with Arnie Wells right on his back tire there. Arnie looking to make some big improvements. I know talking to him, he was not happy with his lap times yesterday. He's really looking to step it up today.
Any idea whether Arnie's was it a personal thing? Was it bikes? Any idea? Obviously, they're kind of one and the same. You got to be feeling comfortable on the machine as well, but from the naked eye, from somebody like me, it's hard to tell what exactly is going on.
Yeah, I think, from talking to Arnie, it was a little bit, he just wasn't comfortable on the bike. They put a new electronic package on the bike, and the bike just had a weird throttle, sensitivity, and he just had a hard time kind of getting used to how the throttle rolled into the power, and he's been searching for that, comfort and confidence all weekend, and we'll see if he finds it in this race.
Well, it looks like Sam Guerin, at the moment at least, has gotten things figured out, and he is holding strong on the back of Ruben Zaus, trying to maybe pick up on some things, see exactly where Ruben's a little quicker. Obviously, Ruben has kind of been the guy to beat so far here in this Andrew Performance Product Bagger GP class.
But yeah, this is an impressive ride already so far. I know we're only 1 lap in, but Sam is hanging right onto the back tire of Ruben Zaus, and Ruben has been running some impressive lap times all weekend long. So, if Sam can stay on the back tire and learn a little bit, maybe be there at the end of the race and make something happen.
Well, and you can see the comfort that Zaus has on the machine. Obviously, many years of racing, and you can see coming into some of those corners. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, kicking that leg off. You said not only does it maybe provide a little bit of extra wind drag, help with stopping the machine as well, but also a little bit of a counterbalance.
Counterbalance too, and if it's kind of a shallow corner, not really deep, and they're not really, you see that corner there. Ruben puts his knee out there and uses that knee puck to kind of feel the ground. It gives him a good sense of where the motorcycle's at in the lean angle. But if it's a shallower corner, he might touch his toe on the ground, kind of just still getting a feel for how far the bike's leaned over. And it's really about repeatability out here, just doing the same thing, finding the fastest way, and then doing that every time.
And there you go, just as you said, a little bit of a toe drag there, headed into, I believe that is turn 10. 9 and 10, one of those double apexes as they head into turn 11. And looks like Ruben's starting to open things up just ever so slightly over Sam Guerin.
Yeah, and watching Ruben, we talk about turn 11 is one you got to be patient on, and turn 13, Ruben just seems to know how to get around those corners. It doesn't matter if he goes in early or late. He just can lay that bike over. He's got so much trust in the tires and the suspension. He can just lean that bike over and have the confidence to just drive through it.
Well, and just from the outside looking in, Ruben seems to manhandle, if you will, that machine. It just seems like he's able to put it exactly where he wants it. Obviously, he's setting things up very well, but it seems like when he leans, it's just a little more aggressive, and that's slowly but surely getting him a 10th here, 10th there.
Yeah, and I think it's, a lot of that is that World Superbike pedigree that he has, right? And Ruben's always been a rider known for, being very active on the motorcycle, meaning that, his body is off the side of the bike. He's not afraid to hang out there, hang the body off the side, try and keep the bike as upright as possible, use his body weight as a counterweight so that, he can stay in the center of the rubber where all the traction's at and get an earlier drive out of the corner.
Nonetheless, just like you said, got to give props where it's due. Sam Guerin doing a great job so far of hanging close. He's still got him in sight. And one mistake from Zales, and he's right back in the mix.
Yeah, like we talked at the top of the show, Sam was one of those teams, the OG Moto teams. They had a few mechanical issues yesterday, and that team's a strong team. They got a really good team, and they worked all night. They figured out the gremlin. It looks like it's paying off so far today.
They're doing a great job as we watch Zales make his way through turns 11 and 12.
I see on the top of the screen here, in 5th place is Jesse Janis. That was the motorcycle that they pushed off the grid at the start of the race. They must have gotten that thing fired up, and he is charging up through the field. Very impressive to be up to 5th place from being dead last off the start.
Yeah, we'll have to try to see if we can get a camera on Janix there and see exactly what's going on, because like I said, had seen him pushed off to the side and thought he was all but done, not even going to make it out there. So glad to see him out on track. And still looks like the battle is Cody Gilmore and Arnie Wells for the top of that Pirelli Pro Stock bagger class, with Gilmore out front at the moment.
It doesn't show it on screen, but on timing and scoring here, I see Jake Masters running in 6th place. So the way that works is they invite the top 3 finishers from the Super Street class at the top of the race to line up at the back of the grid for this class, and Jake Masters podium and winning that class. He's running in 6th place here against these bagger GP and Pro Stock bagger riders. So that's a giant vote of confidence for Jake to be running in 6th place out here with some guys that are very experienced.
Yeah, an absolute statement there from the Australian, trying to show that not only am I the guy to beat in Super Street, but I can get in the mix here with the big boys as well of that Andrews Bagger GP and Pirelli Pro Stock bagger class. And I think for somebody who's already got to be at an all-time high with confidence to get and match pace with some of these top riders like that, that's only going to continue to build a strong program around Masters.
Yeah, for sure. As we still follow Sam Guerin around here, running in 2nd place, still trying to stay in touch with Ruben. Ruben's doing a great job. I've seen 0 mistakes from Ruben. He is just clicking off lap after lap. You see his team's got that pit board out there giving him information about lap times, differentials on how far out in front he is over 2nd place. And Ruben just, he's a true professional. He was out there last night. I had a conversation with him. They're out there working on the bike. He's on the ground talking about this and that, and he's very involved with the team, and it shows in his results.
So taking a look now, it's Cody Gilmore still checking in, leading the way for the Pirelli Pro Stock class, running a 133 on that last lap. So an absolute burner from Cody Gilmore.
That's an impressive lap time in the Pro Stock class. Cody Gilmore, hats off. That's a blistering lap time. And Arnie's also found some time. He's running a 136 today, and I think his best yesterday was a 138. So he's found a little bit more time. It must mean he's getting a little bit more comfortable on that motorcycle. He's running 2nd place in the Pro Stock bagger class right now, and 4th overall. And that's a very good finish for Arnie.
Absolutely, and you got to think big picture with these guys as well. I'm sure they're doing the entire BRL Racing Series, and so I believe it was you that said it yesterday. You can't win the title at round 1, but you can certainly throw it away. And so for somebody like an Arnie Wells that we know extremely accomplished, extremely capable of bringing home not only wins but the championship as well, hey, let's focus on what we can. Let's get some solid performances, get some solid data to put as far as building the bike better for round 2 or round 3 and 4. and let's just get out of here in one piece.
For sure, and it gets really hard. You know, you get in that mindset of, the bike's not working, or if you're not comfortable, and you go out there and you really try and, push the limits and ride beyond your capabilities, and you end up just throwing it all away. So it really takes some experience to know when to just accept that a third or a fourth might be the best you're going to get this weekend, and just learn what you can and move on to the next round.
And you can see just how hard Ruben Zaus is pushing that machine as he headed into turn one. Got a little bit of the speed shake as he was hard on the brakes, had that leg off the machine. But for somebody that looks smooth like butter, he is still pushing this to the absolute limit out there each and every lap.
So there's a glimpse of Jesse Janis there. So I got to give a hats off to the Suburban Motors team. Their whole crew, mechanics, and everybody, even Joe, the owner of the team, has been down there working on this bike tirelessly for the past 2 days. They were looking for parts that were supposed to be overnighted. They were chasing down delivery trucks. I mean, they were doing everything they can to get this bike out on track. So I'm really glad to see Jesse getting in some decent laps here, running around now in 4th place. So looks like he's actually running a decent pace. This is the first time that motorcycle's been on track all weekend.
Yeah, Jesse, last time he came across the line running a 134, and like we say, oftentimes it's overlooked. It's one rider on the motorcycle, but it is an entire team and almost a family, if you will, behind these riders. It takes a village to be able to get these performance bikes out on track and running at the top capabilities.
And I think in the Suburban Motors team, it is both that. It is family and team. I mean, Joe, the owner, his wife is down there. He's got, some of his children down there. He's got the mechanics that work at the dealership down there. And, they're true professionals, but they're a family at the same time. They're all out there eating dinner in the pits together, and it pays off, and I'm glad to see them get this motorcycle, take a little bit of victory away from the weekend.
Absolutely, and you got to think that helps somebody like Jesse as well. He knows those guys are putting everything they've got into it. They want to be on the top step just as much as he does, and clearly it shows. As you saw, Jesse had a lot of composure on the line, even when it looked like things weren't going to work out. Stayed cool, calm, and collected. If he threw a tantrum and walked off, hey, you're not going to be able to get back out there. So kept it cool. He's back out on track and having a great ride.
Yeah, it's all about positive vibes, and that team does a really great job of that. So hats off to them. Ruben still just clicking off those laps. Sam trying to stay in tow, but Ruben has just been on point all weekend. And there's Jesse Janis again. I do believe he's sitting in 3rd position for the Bagger GP class, so they will be able to take home some hardware, and it'll be a hard-fought battle and a well-deserved 3rd place in that Bagger GP class if he can finish there.
Absolutely. It's everybody wants to be on the top step, but after a day like today, they are going to be celebrating that podium finish for sure, and just to be able to get out there and compete.
For sure. Sometimes it isn't about the position, but how hard you had to fight to get there.
As we see them making their way through turn 7. And these guys kind of the cream of the crop, the top level, if you will. And so we don't quite see some of those mistakes that we see in some of the other classes. Not really seeing a lot of people standing up or anything like that. And it just makes the racing that much closer because this is the top level of the sport. These guys have, like we said, got the best teams around them, got the best parts on the machines. And as the white flag comes out for Ruben Zaus, looking to put the best of the results out there, looking for a 1-1 on the weekend.
Yeah, perfect weekend for Ruben and the fueling team. They came, correct. They've put in the work. They've got a lot of time in developing this motorcycle, and Ruben's got big plans for this team and kind of growing the whole sport of bagger racing and trying to take it internationally. And, they've got a great head start here with this team.
Yeah, absolutely. Even getting to go over the pits and talk to Ruben earlier this weekend. He's a hands-on guy. He was on the ground. He was spinning wrenches, and it goes to show, you can be feeling one thing on the motorcycle and need to get it fixed, but if you can't communicate that properly with your team, they're not going to be able to do anything about it. So it's just as much on the rider to be able to explain and try to diagnose exactly what they're feeling, and then trust in your team to be able to make the proper adjustments.
Yeah, communication is key within a team. The rider has to be able to communicate what he's feeling and what he's not feeling to the team. The team has to know what he's talking about, and I think that they've got a really good team over there. They're obviously working well together, and the results are showing.
Absolutely. As Ruben Zaus gets ready to make his way into turn 13 for the final time, and as he exits, he's going to be looking for a checkered flag and a 1-1 on the weekend. So there it is, your Andrews Performance Products Bagger GP winner going to be Ruben Zaus with a 1-1 on the weekend. Not only looking for that #1 trophy, but looking for that gold belt as well.
Yeah, they should be really proud. Ruben has put in a couple of good rides. The team has done their homework and going home with a 1-1 perfect weekend.
Can't do it much better than that. We wait to see exactly how the rest of the podium's going to shake out. It looks like there's Sam Guerin pulling up alongside of him, and a huge congrats to Sam and his entire team as well, getting things figured out overnight. They couldn't even make it to turn 3 yesterday. They've clearly put in a lot of work. They've got stuff figured out, and they were rolling out here today.
Yeah, they put in the work, and it paid off. It's great to see them finish second place and a strong run at that.
And we'll wait to see. We believe it was Jesse Janet's going to round out the podium for the Baggers GP class. Like we said, after a tough start, wasn't even sure if he was going to make the race, and was able to get back out there and start slicing and dicing his way through the pack. So a great performance for him and that entire team. Let's see how things shake out. So there you see Jesse Janik having to be pushed off the side of the track. Wasn't sure whether we were going to see him out there at all. And pay attention to the back of the grid. See exactly what happened. It looked like Tony Salima ran into some issues.
Yeah, I don't know if he missed a shift or somebody came up. Oh, they got together. Man, that was a hard contact there. Looks like it jarred the fairing loose of the 951 of Tony Salima. So tough start there for Tony.
Yeah, and we had mentioned Tony the rest of the race, so not sure exactly whether he was able to race at full potential after that. And like we said before, something that simple could throw off your entire race.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and if that knocked that fairing loose, if it was, he may have had to just pull off just for safety reasons. Looks like he was pretty far back there into turn 2.
So Sam Guerin says, hey, I might not have been in the fight yesterday, but I want to show you what you were missing out on. As he gave Ruben Saus everything he had, especially in those first couple of laps, keeping it close, taking notes from the Spaniard, trying to pick up some tips. And like we said, got to give props to the whole team there. He was able to stay in the fight and hang on to that second place spot in the Bagger GP class. And we were able to see on our timing and scoring, slowly but surely, Jesse Janik was able to get back out there and start making his way towards the front end of the field. I believe he finished 4th on grid, but actually 3rd in that Pro Stock, or in that Bagger GP class, with Cody Gilmore getting up in the mix, finishing in the 3rd place spot and winning that Pirelli Pro Stock Bagger class. And we'll give you guys a look at exactly how they came across the line here in just a second. But that was pretty much all she wrote. The 111 machine doing exactly what he needed to do. You can see getting some words of encouragement from his team there. And with a ride like that, what are they putting on there? Keep it up?
Yeah, I mean,
what more can you say?
Great job.
Yeah.
I mean, what more can you say?
Doing well.
You know, he did everything right. He rode a perfect race, executed perfectly, and bringing home a 1-1 finish.
So there we can see Janik back out and running. And looks like once they did get him out on track, he seemed to be rolling well. We saw, I believe that was Arnie Wells just behind him, who also was putting in some solid times after being a little bit disappointed with his performance yesterday. So great to see Arnie on the bounce back, and Cody Gilmore doing exactly what he needed to do, grabbing a win out of that Pro Stock Bagger class. There it is. The checker flag comes down, and the 111 of Ruben Zaus going to grab the win and sweep the first 2 rounds in the Bagger GP class. We'll give you a look at the results as they came across the line. You can see Ruben, only guy I've seen where he comes across the line, he's grabbing the win, and he still looks frustrated. Looks like he's trying to explain something to his team.
Yeah, Ruben's, you know, the ultimate professional. He's always looking to improve, even after a 1-1 finish.
So Ruben Zaus going to grab the win with Sam Guerin finishing 2nd. Cody Gilmore going to cross the line in 3rd, grabbing the win out of the Pro Stock Bagger class, with Jesse Janik, Arnie Wells, Jake Masters rounding out your top 6. You can see the rest of the field there. And that is going to be the final checker flag of today. Don't you go anywhere. We're going to catch up with our top 3 in each and every one of our classes. But first, we got to get a word from our fantastic sponsors. This is the 2024 Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers. We'll be right back. The 2024 Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers is brought to you by Dunlop Motorcycle Tires, Ultra Cool Oil Cooling Systems, and Bridgestone Tires. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 2024 Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers. Zach Heron here inside the Tucker Speed Studios, and we have wrapped up the second day of racing for this doubleheader event. What a weekend of racing we had in store, and man, what a day of racing we had here for round two. We thought yesterday was fun. Man, I tell you what, it's hard to get much better than that today. And getting a look right now at the podium, looks like that's Ruben Zaus chatting it up with Sam Guerin, going over exactly what went down. And looks like they're going to get the hardware passed out. They're going to get the guys up on the podium. And you can see the respect. Tony Tucker there, he's not just a commentator. He knows a thing or two about a thing or two, how to get the job done. And as soon as we get Sam back up on the podium, we'll get ready to send it down to Tony. Make sure you guys, if you haven't already, you're following us on social media. That's at Bagger Racing League on both Instagram and Facebook. And then, of course, if you have any questions or you want to know more, go to baggerracingleague.com. But it looks like Tony Tucker is ready. Tony, we're going to send it down to you on the podium.
All right, put your hands together for our Bagger GP podium here. Put on an awesome show out there today. Jesse, third place today. You guys fought hard all weekend to get the bike running. It's got to be satisfying to be up here on the box. Tell me how you're feeling.
Yeah, it was good. It's a little bit of a struggling weekend, just a lot of little gremlins with the bike. But the Sly Fox Crew, Suburban, and V-Twin Power Sports Ben really put a lot of work into it. We were able to figure it out today. I think I had about 11 laps before we went out there, and then a little bit of a issue on the starting line. But yeah, we were able to get in some competitive lap times there at the end. The track was amazing. I enjoyed coming. And, yeah, just hats off to the whole crew, and we'll be hopefully ready for the next one.
Right on. Well, it was a great ride. Hats off to your whole team. Congratulations. I got Paula Fox bringing in your third-place trophy. Put your hands together for Jesse Janis and the Suburban Motors Harley team. All right, our second-place finisher, Sam Guerin, the OG Motor Fremont Harley-Davidson team. Sam, beautiful ride out there. You guys had some troubles yesterday, overcame them. Second place. How are you feeling?
Yeah, thanks a lot. It was a great race. Just to be able to drive the bike like pretty much normal without having like in the back of your head the fact that maybe it's gonna shut down. It was awesome. So I managed to push on the two last laps, and I was full throttle because I was like, okay, yeah, it's holding on. I think we fixed it. So we did our fastest lap, I think, just one lap before the end. I would have hoped to be closer from Ruben, but it was a very good race. I would like to thank the guys from Original Garage. They did an awesome job all weekend. Yeah, Premo, Harley Davidson, Revolution Performance, Speed and Strength, Silver Wax, Alloy Art, Legend Suspension, Rob, and RBW's Call.
Well, congratulations, Paula Fox, with the second place trophy. Put your hands together for Sam Guerin. All right, in our top spot, Ruben Zaus, the Fueling Parts Road Glide. Ruben, doesn't get much better. 1-1 finish on the weekend. How are you feeling?
I feel okay. I mean, I think all three, we've got some issues with the bikes. Those bikes are coming into the situation that becoming racing bikes, so everybody's just trying to set up the bike perfect, and those bikes then they talk to you and they tell you, look, we are Harley, so we need to just manage to just have a perfect weekend, everybody, which I think we just nearly got 80% or 85%. Some issues yesterday, some issues this morning. At the start, the clutch was a little bit slippery, so I tried to do a very smooth start, which it came really perfect. So at the end, things learn you how to do all the things, and I put a good pace at the beginning because I knew that as clutches was going to be down lap by lap, so I put a pace of 3.14 all the way down. I mean, with concentration, everything was working good. The bike was running good, with some problems with a gear shifter. You know, I tried to change when I'm leaning over, and it's impossible with that bike, and I went to find that solution. and someone was pushing. So I got a good pace. I found some double guys. I didn't know what lines they were going to take, so I took really caution situation. I've got a good gap. So at the end, this track is very nice. First time for me too. I love it, the track. I congratulate Hastings Motor Park because the track is in a good condition, incredible conditions, and thanks to my partners. You know, I mean, Phil is putting a bike really on a good mood. So Parts Unlimited, Drag, Alloy R, Trask, I mean, STM clutches, J1, Brembo, everybody. You know, Bridgestone also gave me good tires here this weekend. The tires were good. We've done both races with the used tires, and the tires work, you know, length really long. So what can I say? You know, I'm enjoying here, and I think we've got a surprise later on with the BRL group because we're trying to do something out on the other side of the world. So let's see.
Yes, Ruben Zaus trying to take Bagger Racing League across the pond to Europe. Put your hands together. I got Paula Fox handing out that #1 trophy, and Rob Bidos. Ooh, we got Paula handing out that gold belt. That means Ruben's leaving the weekend with the points lead. Put your hands together for our podium in the Bagger GP, brought to you by Zippers Performance. Back to you in the booth.
So, wow, a great job, as you can see. Look at that. That's WWE stuff right there. Working hard for it and leaving the weekend with the points lead. Ruben Zaus doing a great job. And just like Tony and I were talking about earlier, he's one of those guys where, sure, I might have grabbed the win, but that's not all I'm here to do. I want to get as comfortable on the bike as possible. And these guys they're pioneers. Like they said, they are shaping these bikes and turning what are not really made to be racing machines into elite racing things. As you can see, Rob Bidas getting up in there, tell them all about it, getting the photos, because that's what it's all about. You got to put that championship belt on, just like they do in WWE, UFC. And our man Carl Schlack, they're doing a great job of getting all of our social media stuff up to date. And it's worth the follow, guys. I'm telling you what, I've been following Bagger Racer League long before I joined the broadcast team. And it's a lot of great stuff. Like they said, Carl doing a great job with the Throttle series on YouTube, giving you a little more in-depth look at some of the riders. So like I said, it's at Bagger Racing League on both Instagram and Facebook. Make sure you guys are liking us. And for all of those at home watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. You want to leave us a comment and tell us we're doing a great job. We're not afraid of that either. As you can see, it's Memorial Day weekend. We got the Eagle in the background. We're all super fortunate to be able to do this. And we want to give a big thank you to all the men and women of our armed services that are making the ultimate sacrifice so that we can continue to do what we love to do week in and week out. Well, don't go anywhere, folks. Like we said, we're going to be talking to the top 3 in all of our classes, which means we've got the Pirelli Pro Stock class coming up next. Cody Gilmore grabbing the win. We'll see exactly. I know Arnie was in second. We'll see who grabbed that final podium spot. But it was great racing all the way around. Like we said, Cody, I believe, also going 1-1 on the weekend. And that's what it's all about. We've got the fans going crazy. You're going to be signing autographs and taking pictures with their favorite riders. You're going to be hanging out here for the next little bit. And, of course, Ruben got to get the shots, got to keep the Instagram up to date. He's a pretty good follow himself as well. So make sure you guys check it out. Get in there, Rob Bidas. Come on. And got to give a shout-out to Rob Bidas there, one of the kind of the founding father of this Bagger Racing League. He had a dream. He kind of thought it up. I believe he actually wrote it out on a napkin. And so many great brainchilds have come from that. So many great ideas that people don't follow through on. And if you know Rob Bidas, that's not Rob. He's got an idea. He wants to make it happen. He's going to make it happen. And so each and every one of these riders have said, you know, Rob came to me. Rob talked to me about what it would take to get him out here and what would it take to make this one of the biggest racing series in the world, and I think we're on track to do just that. So got to give a big shout-out to Rob, and got to give a big shout-out to our producer, Adam Gordon, as well. It's his birthday tomorrow, so big shout-out to AG, making sure all of the racing action coverage is as good as possible. We couldn't do it without him, and looks like we're getting ready to call up that Pirelli Pro Stock class. Coming up, there is Gilmore getting everything set up. It's one thing to see the riders, but we got to see the machines up there as well. And like I said, we've got great coverage right here on YouTube. It's the best way to watch all of the racing action from home. But go on BaggerRacingLeague.com. I believe it's only 4 weeks before we head up to Michigan. If you're in the Michigan area, if you're not too far it's worth the drive. Come see it in person, and if you've got a bike, go on baggerracingleague.com. I can't say it enough. Get on there and find what class you can get in. Like we said, we've opened up these metric classes, so we've kind of opened the door to a whole different world of street bike racing as well. And we've had a lot of different riders be like, yeah, I knew what Bagger Racing League was, but, I didn't have the right machine for it. And now I found out you guys have got these metric classes, and I was immediately sold. As soon as I found out I had the opportunity to come race, I marked it on my calendar, and it's definitely worth it. I haven't talked to anybody that said they've come out here and they regret it. So make sure you guys are checking that out. Like I said, just about 4 weeks before we'll be out in Michigan for the next round. And then don't forget, I believe we're going up to the Mid-Ohio race here a little later in the year. Got an AMA championship up for grabs out there. And then we're going to have that invitational just up north of the border in Canada. And that one's going to be a fun one. Like we said, an international flair. The first time Bagger Racing League goes across the U.S. borders and really takes it into international waters. And so you don't want to miss that. And then we'll have another round a little later in the year out in California. And so truly making our way across the country, and I think Ruben did a good job of teasing what's to come for the future of Bagger Racing League and these drag specialties Battle of the Baggers, because this is just the beginning. It's year 4. You take a child when they're 4 years old. Is that as big as they get? No, it's not, folks. It's a building process, and so that's why we keep saying, if you're enjoying the content, whether you're a racer, a fan, tell your friends about it. Let them know what's going on, and let them know, hey, they've got to tune in and they've got to check out this Bagger Racing League and the Battle of the Baggers as we're getting that Pirelli Pro Stock class set up. And going to be sending it down here in just a few minutes. See the Eagle standing by. That has got to be, it's got to be kind of hot. That Eagle has been up waving the checkered flag. That's the hero right there. He's doing it for the folks. I know you're sweating in there, man. You can try to hide it, but using the wing to try to wipe it off. But he's doing it for the fans. That's what it's all about. I believe that's Eric Reyes going to round out the podium out of the Pirelli Pro Stock class. So going to be chatting it up with him here in just a few minutes. Get the bike set up, make sure everybody can see the machines that these teams have built, because like we said, it's a project. It's not just something that you can go and buy out on the shelf. These guys are putting in time. They're making custom parts. They're doing a lot of testing to try to get these things as efficient as possible and as raceable as possible. And I can't wait to see as much improvement and as much change has been made over the last 4 years. I can't wait to see what we look like 4 years from now and just how competitive and regular Bagger Racing is. Looks like we've got everything set up. Let's send it down to Tony Tucker.
All right, everybody, put your hands together for our Pirelli Pro Stock podium. Our third place finisher, Eric Reyes. Eric, it was a hard-fought battle, man. You had some struggles on Friday, had a little get-off on turn 1, but you finished the weekend on the podium. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Just good, huh? I mean, you look great, so that's half the battle. I know you've come out with a team. Do you want to give a shout-out to any of those guys?
Of course, FDR Foundation, Black Widow Creations, All-American Riders, Law Tigers. There's a lot more, but Torque Performance, Claybron.
Well, right on. Well, congratulations, Eric. Paula Fox has got your third place trophy here. Put your hands together for Eric Reyes. All right, second place finisher, Suburban Motors Harley-Davidson team. Arnie Wells, a hard-fought battle, a tough weekend for you, but a 2-2 on the weekend. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. So I ran faster than I did yesterday. I was able to hang with Cody for a couple laps, but made a couple mistakes, and it put me back a little bit. So,
yeah, and you guys are an awesome team. Do you want to give a shout-out to anybody?
Yeah, Suburban Motor, Harley-Davidson, the whole crew out there, everybody behind the scenes there. They've done such an amazing job with all of the bikes. Jolly Good Soda, Sly Fox Performance, Legend Suspension, Bridgestone Tires, Performance Machine, Bison Leathers, and LS2 helmets.
Right on. Well, everybody put your hands together. Paula Fox has got your second place trophy. All right, and our top dog, Cody Gilmore, made it look easy this weekend. Cody, finishing 1-1 on the weekend. Tell us how you're feeling.
Yeah, I felt good out there. You know, I got a good start, and
yeah, I just got out there and put down some laps. I was trying to hang with Ruben and Sam, and them guys opened up a little gap on me, and it was just fun learning from them guys, being able to race in that class and joining this class with them. That was pretty cool. So thought we might have had an issue one lap, but luckily everything was awesome, and the bike kept running good. And, yeah, I'm just pumped to be up here with Arnie and yeah, the Suburban team is looking good this weekend. So just want to thank all the sponsors, man, and Suburban Motors. They've been awesome. And even Catherine, Aaron, all my family, friends that came out from back in Iowa that came to see me. So all the mechanics on our team that work in overtime, and they don't even get a thank you here and there. So thanks to them. And then all of our awesome sponsors, Bridgestone, Legend, Sly Fox, Performance Machine, Fueling, Alloy Art, just everyone, man. Thank you. Filthy Roosters here in Nebraska. Thanks to him. And, yeah, we'll see you guys in Michigan.
Right on. Well, we got Paula Fox with your #1 trophy and that gold belt, taking home the points lead from rounds 1 and 2 in the Pirelli Pro Stock Bagger class. Put your hands together, everybody. Back to you.
All right, a huge congratulations to our entire Pirelli Pro Stock class. And it looks like Paula Fox is going to present that points leading belt there. Making sure she's okay there. Quick little stumble. We got her. And, put that belt on. And one more time, a huge congratulations. Your Pirelli Pro Stock Bagger class here from round 2. Cody Gilmore grabbing the win with a 1-1. And heading out of Nebraska with that points lead. There we go. That's WWE style. That's what I'm talking about. So a huge congratulations. And I believe we're going to be catching up with the Barnett Cables and Clutches Super Street Bagger class coming up after this. So the riders and mechanics going to get those bikes taken off, and believe we're going to try to give you a little replay of the first race of the day, that Barnett Cables and Clutches Super Street Bagger class. Show you how it went down a little earlier today. So it was Jake Masters not having the best qualifying result. Carl Schlack there doing a great job grabbing the early race lead. Masters making some quick passes along the outside. He finds himself in the second place spot as they head into turn 2 on lap 1. Takes the long way around and makes the pass. And that was going to be smooth sailing from Masters up front for the rest of the field. Doing a very solid job, like we said, coming from a stunt riding background. He's well established in motocross racing, off-road racing as well, and clearly knows what he's doing on a bagger machine as well, as the number 51 was out front, hitting all of his marks, and yeah, getting the nod of approval from our very own Tony Tucker in here, doing a great job opening up that gap. And from there he was pretty much able to manage the race, didn't have to push too hard, and I believe he even checked up just a little bit on that last lap to make sure all of our other riders got their full 7 laps in. As we see entering into turn 13, very patient, not overriding the machine, not pushing the limits any harder than he had to, just trying to bring this thing home. And he knows that he's got a gold championship points lead belt waiting on him as well. So as you can see, he ducks off into turn 1 there, doing a great job and just continue to open up that gap. Chris Rivas out here as well, Sean Hoffman, Carl Schlack doing a great job. Carl's really been fire off of the start. And like we said, I believe he, not sure if he was involved in that school on Friday or not. I know he's involved in the mock race as well, but he's the host of our Throttle series on YouTube, and I believe you can find that in podcast forms as well. And said, you know, if I'm already going to be out here, does a lot of our social media stuff, says I might as well throw on the leathers and get out there and do some racing myself. So a big shout out to Carl for being so involved with the Bagger Racing League. And there it is on that last lap. He said, hey, boys, you know what? I did the full 7. I'm going to let you guys get your money's worth as well. Takes a little look over the shoulder, make sure he doesn't have anybody sneaking up on him. And Jake Masters going to bring it home and take the checkered flag in that Barnett Cables and Clutches Super Street Bagger class. And look at that. No hands for the fans. waving to everybody, and looks like they've got the bike set up. We're going to send it down to Tony Tucker with your Barnett Cables and Clutches Super Street Bagger Podium.
All right, back down here at the podium. Everybody put your hands together for the Super Street Barnett Cables Class Podium winners. We'll jump in here with our third place finisher, Sean Hoffman. Sean, your first race with the BRL, mechanic turned racer. Could it have gone any better?
I don't believe it could have. Just went out there and ran my own race. It was super fun. And felt the motor slowing down a little bit, so I just made some space between me and Carl and just rode around.
Well, that's the way to do it. It's just about who finishes first. And do you want to give a shout out to anybody?
Sly Fox, Suburban Motors, Bridgestone Tires, Legend Suspension, Alloy Art, Fueling, Mom, Dad, everyone else that's all been involved in this project. It's been a great ride so far, and let's keep her going in Michigan.
Right on. Well, everybody put your hands together. Paula Fox bringing in that third place trophy. All right, and our second place finisher, Chris Rivas on the 244. Chris, you've won a lot of championships and a lot of racings in different disciplines. How does this one stack up?
This is so much more fun than just going straight, holding the throttle wide open. You know, 6 seconds, a drag race is over, but man, you can do this thing lap after lap, and you know, you make a little mistake somewhere and you can always make it up maybe in the next breaking point or something. It's just so much fun, and I love mixing it up with everybody. I don't have the greatest starts, ironically, from a drag racer. These guys are like rockets. They take off, and you know, I usually end up in the middle of the mix at turn one, but get to make it up at my breaking points and stuff like that. And Carl did put up a heck of a fight, especially in the beginning of the race there. He had my number. But it was a lot of fun, man. We just have so much fun turning corners now, dragging knees.
Right on. Who do you want to thank?
I need to thank my company, Rocket Performance Garage. That's all the engine components that are in this thing, and the clutches are made by us, are made for us by Barnett. So Mike Taylor, Chance, thank you guys very much for what you do for the clutches and for this class. And, of course, Daryl Bassani. You know, we lost him this year. Bassani Exhaust Company has always been a supporter of this group, and really a tough deal to handle that. But S&S Cycle has been always a helper with us, and just so many people to thank, you know. A lot of fun.
Well, put your hands together. Paula Fox has got your second place trophy. Chris Rivas, our second place finisher. All right, Jake Masters, finishing on a 1-1. Couldn't have gone any better for Jake. Jake, tell us how you're feeling today.
Feeling good. Every day I'm learning more. This bike's incredible. First time I'm being one of these, I don't want to get off it. It's so nice. Thanks to the team, they've done so well. And it takes a community of us to go do this, and it's the right community. So, yeah, I can't thank everyone enough. And the whole team is shredding. So,
well, right on, you guys. Jake's coming all the way from Australia to put it on the top of the box, finishing with a 1-1. Paula Fox has got your number one trophy and that gold belt, taking home some hardware this weekend. Everybody put your hands together for your Barnett Cables and Clutches Super Street podium finishers here. Back to you in the podium, Zach.
So a great job from our entire top three there. Tony getting the word with the guys under the helmet, getting the job done. And good to hear from Jake there. You know, a 1-1 performance. He says, I'm still learning, right? I'm still taking notes, still trying to get this thing figured out. But one thing that's consistent with each and every one of these riders, that smile on the face. Everybody's having a great time, and everybody having so much fun out here at the Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers and Bagger Racing League. Let's take a look at what's coming up next. We've got our Nebraska 811 Lightweight Superbike Podium. And let's give you a little refresher as how things went down. Right here is that we've got the race replay. One of those riders getting the front end up high, but it was Brett Folkerts trying to make quick work of it. He got out front early, already had a couple of bike links as they went into turn one, and this was an action-packed race. Got some supermotos out there, got some sport bikes out there as well. Scott Short, Tommy Ryan, James Flume, Arch York, and Chris Hasemeyer all out there doing battle on track, but it was all Brett Folkerts at the front of the field. I talked to Brett earlier in the day. It was somewhat similar to what we saw yesterday. We said, hey, man, we're not trying to cut you out on the broadcast, but you were out so front by yourself, and we had some great battles going on towards the rear of the pack and the rear of the podium. As you can see, Arch York there up front, looking solid on that KTM early, and he was going to do battle with the 6'11 of Tommy Ryan, but then out of nowhere, Scott Short slicing and dicing. Next thing you knew, he was going to battle with Arch York, and they had a solid back and forth for probably 3 or 4 laps. You can see right there, Arch and the 6'11 of Tommy Ryan, they went at it, and then boom, next thing you know, there's the 151 Scott Short. He dives to the inside. We thought that might have been all it was. That might be all she wrote. No thanks. Arch York says, hang on, I got a second. Leaves that KTM wide open, takes the long way around as they head into turn number 3 and makes the pass back. And that was only 2 of maybe 5 or 6 passes we saw, but as the checker flag came down, waving to the fans, it was all Brett Folkerts grabbing the win in your Nebraska 811 lightweight superbike class. Let's send it down to Tony Tucker.
Back down here at the podium for the Nebraska 811 lightweight superbike class. Our third place finisher, Arch. Arch, you were chalking it up out there. You were looking really strong early in the race, ended up finishing third. How did the race go for you?
Oh, it was a blast. Once again, I'm up here in third. I was really trying to hang on to second, dice it up a little bit. Made him earn it on the second place there. I tried to pass him back a couple times. It was fun, but in the end, he just out-skilled me, tried to hold on and gave me a really good tow, probably pulled my best lap time right behind him. But then after that, I was just trying to play defense, keeping my teammates behind me. So thanks, y'all, for being there. But, yeah, it was a blast.
Who do you need to thank this weekend?
First and foremost, I'd like to thank my team, Underground Team Racing. It's been a blast out here. I'd like to thank Nebraska 811 for making this possible and being a main sponsor of the event. Try to make this stuff happen in the U.S. as much as we can, right? And also I'd like to thank our other big sponsors, Missouri and Kansas 811. And then, of course, thank my mom and my dad. And then the last, I'd like to give a shout-out. Somebody really important to me is a big organization. It was part of my family, the Marine Corps. That's it.
Put your hands together for Arch York, our third-place finisher in the lightweight superbike. I got Paula Young handing out your third-place trophy. All right, Scott Short, second-place finisher on the day. Scott, you had a great battle out there, going back and forth with Arch and a couple of the other guys. Tell us about your race.
The start was horrible. I probably shouldn't wheelie. That would help a lot. I was hoping to tie on to Brett. Maybe shouldn't have gave him the new tire I owed him. But he rides so well, and I was really hoping to get him today. But another day.
Who do you need to thank on the weekend?
You guys are awesome. The coverage has made it so much fun. I have family members watching that have never seen it, so that's really cool.
Right on. Well, shout out to your family at home. Put your hands together for Scott. Paula, he's got your number 2 trophy here. Put your hands together for Scott. All right, and our number 1 finisher, 1-1 on the weekend, Brett Folkerts. Wasn't much to talk about, Brett. You set sail, checked out, and just clicked off laps. Tell us about your race, though.
Yeah, I got lucky with a really good start. Didn't have to battle back with those guys. Thank God, because it looked like it was a tough battle. We went back and watched the race after the fact, and they put down some cool passes, and it was really cool to see. So I got lucky, put my head down, just clicked off the laps, and brought it home.
Well, hats off to you for a perfect race. Who do you need to thank on this weekend?
Yeah, Scott and Sarah Short here, and then Bill with Motorcycle Supply, Randy Solinger for building an awesome motor and a great bike, and then like Scott said, you guys for coming out to Hastings, putting on a great event, and with just amazing coverage, so I appreciate it.
Right on. Well, I got Paula Fox bringing in your number 1 trophy and your gold belt on the weekend. Everybody put your hands together for the Nebraska 811 lightweight superbike podium finishers. Back to you in the booth, Zach.
And there it is. The belt goes overhead. The smiles on the faces. The crowd goes wild. Once again, a huge congratulations to our lightweight superbike podiums. One of the more action-packed races on the weekend. Lots of passes, and that's what we look forward to. And that's what it's all about right there. The sportsmanship, everybody having such a great time. The helmet goes on. You got no friends out there. But as soon as the checker flag flies, everybody's just enjoying racing, and that's what Bagger Racing League and the Battle of the Baggers is all about. So let's take a look at our next race. This one's going to be a fun one. Several different classes in there. Carl Slack, like I said, absolute fire off of the start. He picks that front end up, and like Tony said, it might have looked cool, but not quite the fastest way into turn 1, but still a solid performance from Carl. But it was the 811 machine out of that DP Brakes Liquid Twins class. Andrew Berkeley absolutely handling business at the front of the field. And that was pretty much all she wrote as far as the lead goes. He was able to get up front early, put a little bit of distance between himself and the rest of the pack, but it was a battle royale between the number 61 of James Milroy Jr. and Jamie Hansen for the number 1 spot in our next-gen Superbike class. They went back and forth a number of times. With, I believe Catherine Bukowski going to round out the podium in that class, but look at this back and forth, inside and outside. It was anybody's guess. Hansen got the win yesterday, so we knew Milroy was going to put up a fight and try to get the tiebreaker. He wants to be holding up that belt. They're side by side, headed down the backstretch into turn 3. Milroy closes the door there, but sure enough, it was going to be the 911 machine of Jamie Hansen hanging tough. He makes that pass stick a little later in the race and is going to ride off to grab the win in the next-gen Superbike class. But at the front of the field in that DP Brakes Liquid Twins class, it was all Andrew Berkeley grabbing the win. There you see Milroy and Hansen once again side by side. Felt like every time we flipped the camera back to them, they had flip-flop positions. We're getting ready to go at it once again as we take a look at the replay headed into turn 4 here. And there is the 811 machine, Andrew Berkeley, headed towards the checkered flag out of your DP Brakes Liquid Twins class. A solid performance, hitting all of his marks. And we're going to wait to make sure we've got everybody ready up on the podium. And if you're ready, we're going to go ahead and send it down to Tony Tucker.
All right, everybody, put your hands together for our winner, going 1-1 on the weekend, Andrew Berkeley on our DP Brakes Liquid Twins class. Andrew, you set sails on the rest of the pack and just walked away. Tell us how the race went for you.
Race went real well. This bike's been running strong ever since Butch and I built it, Fast by Butch. He builds an amazing bike. This thing wants to wheelie everywhere, so I kind of took advantage of that and really had some fun on those laps. When I turned around, didn't see my competition closing in on me. Kind of had a little bit of fun doing some wheelies and just seeing what I could do. My tire was just about smoked, so I was kind of sliding out of some corners and just kind of making sure I made it back and made it all the way through the race.
Right on. Who do you need to thank on this weekend?
I need to thank UTR, Underground Team Racing. They helped me out so much throughout all the years of me racing, helped me go to several different race organizations. I need to thank Nebraska 811, Kansas 811, Missouri 811, Schmidt Law Firm, and again, Fast by Butch. He builds an amazing bike, and hit him up if you need anything built.
Right on. Well, everybody put your hands together for Andrew Berkeley, our first place finisher on the DP Brakes Liquid Twin. We got Paula Fox bringing in your #1 trophy and that gold belt. Put your hands together. Our next class up is going to be our next gen class. Next gen podium will be right up next.
So great stuff coming out of that DP Brakes Liquid Twins class, and looks like Arch and the 811 crew jumping up with the 811 machine. Once again, guys, big shout out to the entire 811 crew. We had multiple states involved with us this weekend. I believe Missouri, Kansas, and Nebraska all coming out to hang out with us. And it's simple, guys. Call before you dig, whether you're building a skyscraper or putting some posts in the ground like you saw in one of our commercials. It's a state law, and it's here to make sure you guys are as safe as possible when you're digging in the ground. Sounds like we've got our next-gen Superbike coming up next. That was the battle that you just saw a few minutes ago between Jamie Hansen and James Milroy Jr., and I do believe it was Catherine Bukowski rounding out the podium, so a great job from her. Excited to hear how her race went as well. And these guys it seems like they're good friends, Jamie and James. I don't want to assume anything, but, man, that was good battling out there, good sportsmanship between the three of them. And excited to hear what they thought about their race. We can speculate. We can say what we see up here from the booth and what we see on camera. But it is so nice to hear from the riders who are actually out there, see what their thoughts are. And as you heard from Ruben Zales talk about a rider who's been around the world and seen a ton of tracks, got to give a huge shout out once again to Motorsport Park Hastings right here in Hastings, Nebraska. Jeff Lucina, the general manager out here, has been super accommodating, and this entire facility has been top-notch, top to bottom, and a huge thank you to everybody there involved. Like we said, had a clubhouse out here that was serving breakfast and lunch as well, and looks like we're going to get everybody up on the podium and send it down to Tony Tucker when you're ready with the Next Gen Superbike class, brought to you by Nebraska 811.
Everybody put your hands together for our podium finishers for the 811 Nebraska Next Gen Superbike podium winners. Our third place finisher, Catherine Bukowski. Catherine, 2 podiums on the weekend. You got to be feeling really good. Tell us how you're feeling today.
Feeling pretty good. It was a good weekend. Bike's doing well. I'm feeling pretty good.
Who do you need to thank on the weekend?
Well, of course, BRL for coming out to Hastings and putting on a great event. And the Hastings staff is always a joy. The track is always a joy to be at. And my husband is helping me work on my bike whenever I feel something about it that needs worked on. And
Right on. Well, huge congrats to Catherine and her team and her husband. Paula's got your 3rd place trophy. Put your hands together for Catherine Bukowski. All right, our 2nd place finisher, James Milroy. James, hard-fought battle out there, back and forth, but great racing. Tell us how it went.
Went great. After yesterday's race, I threw a new pair of Michelin slicks on. I had to bring it as much as I could, and I got a great start. I led for a while, and we battled back and forth. I had a ball racing. It was so much fun. And 2nd place ain't so bad for a 55-year-old riding a 31-year-old bike.
That's pretty good. We were pumped in the booth watching the action. It was action-packed and, a great race. Who do you need to thank on your weekend?
First, Joe Wolf's been here all weekend helping me out, and my family at home who allowed me to do this.
Right on. Well, put your hands together. Paula Fox has got your 2nd place trophy here. Put your hands together for James Milroy. And our 1st place finisher, top of the box, Jamie Hansen. Jamie, putting down some laps today. You got to be wiped, but tell us how the race went.
It was awesome. One of the funnest races I've had, I think. And, I'm just wore out from all 3 of them. But yeah, that was a ton of fun.
Right on. Well, I'm assuming you're just got to be completely wiped, doing triple duty, 3 races today. Who do you need to thank on your weekend?
I want to thank Robert Lackey from Bison for getting my suit delivered trackside. The best crew chief around, Evan, and my dad, pit crew, LM2, Trackside Labs, Pub Onion Land, Brainerd, Minnesota, DP Brakes. Did I say Michelin? And I want to thank my Nebraska family for coming down and seeing me, and my friends back home.
Right on. Well, everybody put your hands together. Paula Fox has got your #1 trophy and that gold belt. He's going home with the points lead in the 811 Nebraska Next Gen Superbike class. Everybody put your hands together one more time. Next up, we're going to have a podium for the ATU class.
So once again, a huge congratulations to our Next Gen Superbike class. Jamie Hansen there on the top step, getting the job done and getting that gold belt as well. And it sounds like coming up next, we're going to have that American Twins Unlimited class, or ATU as they like to call it. Some great racing there as well. Hey, let's give you a little preview as to what's coming up next. We've got rounds 3 and 4 in just a couple of weeks, folks. And if you think a month is a long time, you don't know anything about BRL Racing, because it'll be here before you know it. That is going to be out at Gingerman Raceway in South Haven, Michigan. So like I said, all of our viewers on YouTube across the country, if you're close to Michigan, you don't even have to be in Michigan. I'm telling you, if you're close and you're free, you can make the drive. Come out. It is worth it. Whether you're racing or not, if you've got a bike, please go to baggerracingleague.com and try to check out those classes. Look at the class parameters. Find out whether or not you can race, because I'm willing to bet we've probably got a class for you, and I can't stress it enough. If you've got a bike and you want to try it, this is the place to do it. We've got great stuff. Obviously, we've got some top-level athletes at the top of the sport, but then we've also got some folks that did a riding class on Friday. They did a mock race on Friday afternoon and then lined it up for the first time on Saturday. So some great stuff to come in just a couple of weeks out in South Haven, Michigan at Gingerman Raceway, another one of those nationally acclaimed tracks, and excited to be out there as well. And it looks like we've got things ready to go back down to the podium as we get ready to send it to Tony Tucker with the American Twins Unlimited podium.
All right, everybody, put it together. Put your hands together for our, what class is this? ATU, Carl. I'm too excited for Carl. I don't even know what class you're in. You worked real hard. You built this bike all winter long. This is your first race. To take home some hardware, it's got to feel good. Tell us how you're all feeling.
Yeah, this is my first road race ever. I've come from a motocross background, as you heard Tony talk about so much. We just had a blast out there. I got a lot to learn, I'll tell you that. But twisting the throttle, railing these corners, that is fun.
Right on. Well, I know you got a bunch of great sponsors. Who do you need to thank this weekend?
Yeah, I definitely want to shout out my family, Hog Halters, Suburban Motors, DP Brakes, Alloy Art, Custom Culture, Blood Racing, Lubricants, Original Garage, Ultra Cool, Motozilli Power Sports, Fueling, Luke. I mean, my bike rips. Bridgestone, setting me up with the street tires out here, checking the temps. And we did it. So, yeah, thanks, everybody. Sorry if I forgot you. Palm Pouch, WatchTrueBlue.com, Aiden Customs, Speed Farm, baby.
Right on, everybody. Put your hands together for Carl Schlock, your number one finisher in the ATU class. Paula's got your number one trophy in that gold belt. Congrats, Carl. Next up, we're going to have our Unlimited Superbike guys next up on the podium here.
So a huge congratulations to Carl Schlack there. Like I said, wearing a lot of hats for the Bagger Racing League, doing a lot of social media work for us as well. If you haven't already, be sure to check out that Throttle series on YouTube. I know I really enjoyed it, kind of getting an insider look at not only the series, but some of the racers involved with it as well. And, as a motocross guy myself, clearly the guy knows how to go fast off-road and on-road as well. So a huge congratulations to Carl as we get ready for our next podium coming up. And that it's going to be exciting, folks. Like I said, it's so cool to get a first-hand knowledge. So many of these riders have got different stories and different backgrounds as far as how they got into the Bagger Racing League. But nonetheless, they find themselves out here, and it seems like no matter where you come from, when you come out here to BRL, you have a good time, and that's what it's all about. The Eagle's having a good time as well. That's what it's all about. He's flapping the wings. He's enjoying the Memorial Day weekend, and that is what it's all about. We're going to get those bikes set up, make sure you can show off the machines as much as anything else. To give you a little more of a preview as far as what the rest of 2024 looks like, we've got that Canadian Tires Motorsports Park, and I believe that's up just north of the border. That's going to be August 9th through the 11th, and that is an invite-only race. So make sure you guys are checking that out. That's on BaggerRacingLeague.com. And we're going to have this unlimited podium coming up here in just a few minutes. So that'll be the Nebraska 811 Unlimited Superbike class coming up next. And what a race we had in that. Jamie Hansen back out there again doing triple duty. And I believe there's Brett Folkerts there as well. Guy knows a thing or two about how to get on the top of the podium. And then, of course, Brian Haig, a fun one to watch. Seems like every time we saw him, that front tire was off the ground. He says that's just the way he likes it, putting the power to the ground. And not only was that a fun one to watch, but it's a fun race to call as well. We'll give you a little look at how things went down as we take a look at the race replay. It was Hay grabbing the early lead headed into turn one. And Folkert's able to make the move relatively early, making an aggressive pass, and I don't mean that in a negative terms. You got to make it happen when you can, and he was able to do just that. And once he made the pass, he set sail out front, but the battle was on between Haig, Haysmeyer as well, and then Rob Oliva in the mix. Got to give him a shout-out as he was knocking on the door of a podium this entire race. And they were about as close as they could be, but this guy out front once again, he's like, you know what, you guys can have the camera time. I want that gold belt. Brett Folkert's grabbing the win, and we're going to send it down to Tony Tucker with your Nebraska 811 Unlimited Superbike podium.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Everybody put your hands together for the Nebraska 811 Unlimited Superbike podium finishers here. Our third-place finisher, Brian Haig. Brian, hard-fought battle out there. I know it's got to be a handful wrestling around this horsepower, but tell us how that race went for you.
That was a great race. Battling with Chris is always fun. MPH is always a great place to ride. The BRL makes it enjoyable. It was a great day out there.
Right on. I know you got a lot of people that are helping you out. Who do you need to thank?
Premier Tree, thanks for letting me come out here. The BRL and the MPH staff and event. I appreciate it.
Right on. Everybody put your hands together. Paula Fox has got your number 3 trophy here. Put your hands together for Brian Haig. Our number 2 finisher, Chris Haysmeyer. Hayes, congratulations. That was a great battle out there. You guys were really mixing it up back and forth, and look, you kind of stretched it out and just took command and took second place. Tell us how your race went.
Yeah, I got a much better start today. I got close first handful of laps or so, and I was like,
I'm not going to sleep very good tonight if I didn't make something stick, but ended up getting by him and had some open track and just kind of pulled away from there, and it was a solid day for sure.
Right on. What was great action out on the track. We enjoyed it. Who do you need to thank on the weekend?
Yeah, of course, got to give a big shout out to the whole underground team racing, Kansas 811, Nebraska 811, Missouri 811, Call Before You Dig, Mom, my dad. Yeah.
Right on. Everybody put your hands together. Paula Fox has got your number 2 trophy. Chris Hazemeyer, your number 2 finisher. Brett Folkerts. Brett, great weekend. We didn't see you a whole lot on TV because you kind of were a little faster than the cameras could keep up, but great ride out there. Tell us how your race went today.
Sure, yeah. It was another fun first couple laps being with these guys. Was able to put apparently an aggressive pass on Brian here, but it felt clean in my book. But no, I was able to then just throw down some fun fast laps. It was getting a little greasy. The tires were slipping a lot, so that's always fun. But yeah, brought it home and had a lot of fun.
Right on. I know you don't do it alone. Who do you need to thank?
Sure, yeah. Scott and Sarah again, and Motorcycle Supply, and then Motorsport Hastings guys. We come out here quite a bit with the Track Addicts crew, and they're always just a blast and keep the track in great shape. So we always appreciate it.
Right on. Well, everybody put your hands together for Brett Folkerts, our 1-1 finisher on the weekend. Paula Fox has got his number 1 trophy and that gold belt. Feels great carrying that belt home on the weekend. That means you're going home with a points lead. Congratulations to our 811 Nebraska Unlimited Superbike podium finishers. Next up, we're going to have our air-cooled twins podium. We're going to send it back to you, Zach.
So a huge congratulations to our entire Nebraska 811 Unlimited Superbike podium. And Brett, it was aggressive, but we liked it, man. All right, I want to make it sure. We were a fan of the pass. But, no, some great racing there in that Unlimited Superbike class, and that's what it's all about. And like you said, how about those belts? I mean, it just goes to show we do it right here at BRL, everything from the merchandise all the way down to the trophies for the riders. We've got those event placards as far as round 1 and round 2. But if you're the points leader leaving this weekend, you got that big, shiny belt, and that thing is legit as it gets. They had the Eagle running around with it earlier today, taking pictures with all the kids, and couldn't tell if it was Triple H and The Rock or whether it was championship racers. You give them a championship belt, they all start going crazy. And that's what it's all about. As we get ready for our Zippers Performance Product Air-Cooled Twins class, they were in that mixed class just a little bit ago with the ATU, the Liquid Twins, and the Next Gen Superbike class, and some great racing in that. Chris Rivas and Jake McGuire, we got to talk to him yesterday. They did some great battling up on the grid, and excited to catch up with them again here soon as we get the machines pushed under. And that's another big part of it is this is a team effort, right? It's the riders are by themselves out there, but you go to these pits, you see not only when things are going right, but especially when things are going wrong. That's where you really see the team come into play. It's all how they handle the adversity, how they handle the pressure, and it's all just as much about the crew chiefs, the mechanics, the wives, the girlfriends. Everybody's got to be involved, and everybody's got to be on the same page to get on that podium. And these guys were both able to do just that. We're going to go ahead. Look at that. A big shake of the hand. A lot of respect between those two. We're going to send it down to Tony Tucker for the Zippers Performance Products Air-Cooled Twins podium.
All right, everybody, put your hands together for our podium finishers in the Zippers Performance Products Air-Cooled Twins class. Our second-place finisher, Jake McGuire. Jake, I got to, tip my hat to you, the soul Softail out there. Brave enough to tackle the track, but tell me how it went out there today.
It was a good time. Feel like I did a little bit better. Didn't have anything for Chris. He was rolling out there, but it was a good time.
Right on. Well, I know you got a lot of support down there in the end of the pits. Who do you need to thank today?
Harley Davidson Bowling Green, Grim Reapers Motorcycle Club, Galfer and RC Components, got Easy Cheesy Pizza, A1 Lawn Care. I believe that's everybody.
Right on. Well, everybody put your hands together. Paula Fox has got your number 2 trophy. Put your hands together for Jake McGuire. All right, and our number 1 finisher, 1-1 on the weekend in the air-cooled class, Chris Rivas. Chris, we're getting used to this, aren't we? But congratulations. How did the Buell feel out there today? Was it an improvement over yesterday?
The Buell was just a red rocket. It was really just so stable and so good. And this dude right here, it's supposed to be like his first weekend of racing, and he had my number every time we took the start. My little bike's got 85 horsepower, man. He launched on me. I had to almost a full lap before I could catch him and pass him in the braking zone. So he did a fantastic job. But the little red rocket was rolling really good on the Michelin tires. Brandon man, all the support and everything with Michelin, it's been a really big life changer out there because of the way the bike can just roll speed through the corners. So I'm faster than I've ever been by a long, long way. It's been a really good thing. Really love the BRL, but this bike, we were rolling out this morning for the warm-up session, and I blew all the teeth off the belt. And I'm looking around in the pits, and how do you find another Buell in the pits? At the Suburban trailer. That's the only place that had them. So I went and I asked Joe from Suburban, hey, man, can I steal a belt? He goes, absolutely. You got to do all the work. So I stripped down 2 bikes and changed the belt and went out there, and it paid off for sure.
Right on. Well, who else do you need to thank on the weekend besides Joe?
Well, my wife for sure. And like I said, the Michelin made a big difference. The BRL, we love it. This track is fantastic. Salt Lake City was my favorite track up to this point, and I really love the Hastings crew, and the track is just really amazing.
Well, right on. Well, don't hate on Salt Lake too bad. Everybody put your hands together. Paula Fox has got your #1 trophy and that gold belt. Put your hands together for Chris Rivas. Our next podium celebration is the 811 Nebraska middleweight class. Coming right up.
Look at that, the smile on the face, the belt in hand. That's what it's all about. A huge congratulations to Chris Rivas. Doing a great job there. Jake McGuire having a solid run as well. And going to give you a little replay of that Nebraska 811 middleweight superbike class. This is how it all went down. As you can see, Hayes there picking the front end up, trying to get the power to the ground. And he was able to do just that. Now watch the 205 machine. She comes in, stands it up. We thought that might be all she wrote. That was a scary mistake, and it could have had some big, costly consequences. She was able to do a great job, Kira Nebel, saving that. And we was like, okay, maybe she got a little startled from that one. That might be she just hangs on for 3rd place. We were wrong, my friends. She came back and gave a great battle for the 2nd place spot. Haysmeyer out front was handling business. Jamie Hansen sitting there in 2nd. And sure enough, Kira Neville started to close the gap up, and we thought we were going to see a pass. Now, like we mentioned, Hansen doing, I believe it's triple duty out there in multiple different classes, so I'm sure after spending so many laps, he's got to be pretty tired. He's working hard out there, but Kira doing a great job. She set the pace and tried to sneak around the outside a couple of times, was looking inside, was looking outside, but wasn't quite able to make the pass. There you see on screen just how close they were. She tracked him back down, and Hansen doing a great job. Like we said, got to be tired after spending this many laps, but still had enough fight in the tank to be able to hang on for 2nd place, running a great defensive ride and making sure Kira wasn't able to get around. And that was how the podium got wrapped up. So it was Chris Haysmeyer grabbing the win, Jamie Hansen 2nd, and Kira Nebel 3rd there in your Nebraska 811 middleweight superbike. And looks like we're getting the last of the bikes set up, and we're going to get them up on the podium. We'll send it down to Tony Tucker with your Nebraska 811 middleweight superbike podium.
All right, everybody, the last podium of the day. Save the best for last. There were some great battles in this middleweight class. Kira, we saw you bobble on the turn 1, and you just put your head down and battled back. Tell us how that race went.
Well, I got a really good start, really gotten into that position that I wanted. We got really, really close coming through turn 1, so I just stood it up out of respect, didn't want to take any of us out. And then from there, just tried to catch back up and wait until Jamie made a mistake, and he didn't. He raced really, really well. So great race out there.
Yeah, it was exciting action, maybe the most exciting race of the day. I know you got a lot of support. Who do you need to thank today?
Well, I want to thank Vortex and Bison Leathers and LM2 for getting our team together out here. Michelin with Trackside Labs really helping me get the suspension set up and getting some really sticky tires on the bike. And DP Brakes, really phenomenal stopping power on that. So awesome job.
Right on. Well, everybody put your hands together. Paula Fox has got your 3rd place trophy. Kira, congratulations. Our 2nd place finisher, Jamie Hansen. Jamie, you might as well just take up residency up here, man. This is great. Tell us how the middleweight race went for you.
It was good. The first corner was a little sketchy, and then I pulled away, and then one corner I looked back and I seen her coming, and then my rear tire was getting greasy, and I started going out, and it was everything I could do to stay ahead of her and not let her catch me.
Right on. Who do you need to thank?
Everybody I just did, and then I also want to thank BRL for putting this on because it's an awesome event.
Right on. Well, everybody put your hands together for Jamie Hansen, our second place finisher in our middleweight class. Chris Hasemeyer, top of the box, man. 1-1 on the weekend. Tell us how this class went for you.
Yeah, it was a good one. I just kind of told myself I was going to have the same game plan as yesterday, get the whole shot, ride defensive the first few laps, and kind of build myself a gap. And I knew I had a race right after, so I kind of wanted to conserve some energy for that race, and I kind of just spoke it into existence. So, yeah, it was a pretty solid race, and I'd like to give a big shout-out to the whole Underground Team Racing, 811 Call Before You Dig, Nebraska 811, BRL for hosting this event. It was pretty solid. I will definitely be back, and, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Right on. Well, put your hands together for our first-place finisher. Paula Fox has got your first-place trophy and that gold belt, leaving the weekend with the points lead. Put your hands together. Everybody put your hands together for Paula Fox, the best-looking trophy girl in the business. Paula Fox, big thanks to you. Back to you in the booth.
A huge congratulations to that Nebraska 811 middleweight superbike class. And just like that, the opening 2 rounds of the 2024 Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers have come to a close. The 2024 season is officially off and rolling. We want to thank you guys all for tuning in on YouTube and for all of those that came out in person. We had a great time. I want to give a big shout out to Jeff Lucina and the entire Motorsports Park Hastings crew for being so kind and hosting us with open arms, making sure we had anything and everything that we needed. It was a great time, and we hope you guys enjoyed the coverage here live as well as at home. We want to make sure you guys are paying attention. Just 4 weeks from now at the end of June, we'll be out in South Haven, Michigan for Ginger Man Raceway for rounds 3 and 4. You guys don't want to miss that at all. Once again, a big thank you to all of our series sponsors as well. Alpine Star, AMA, Andrews, Barnett, Bridgestone, DP, Drag Specialties, Dunlop, Memphis Shades, Pirelli, Ultra Cool, and Zippers Performance Products. For Rob Bitus, Tony Tucker, I'm Zach Herron. We'll see you next time at BRL.